CIB. From Australian police records come these true stories of day and night vigilance that protects our lives and our property, of prevention and detection in the unceasing war against crime. CIB. From New South Wales, the true story of the vanishing bushman. This is a true story from Australian police records. Only names, place names, and dates have been altered. It was night time on a lonely river flat in outback New South Wales. A river flat where, since the district was first settled, the sundowners and vagrant bushworkers have hobbled their horses or have unrolled their swags and boiled their billy cans and stared into the embers of their campfires.
Here, Smoky. Here, come on. There, don't you want your scratch, eh? Here, come on. Here. Here, lie down, you silly coot. It's only one of old Burston's weathers. Here, down. Here, down you. Smoky. Who's there? Who's there? Show yourself. Down, Smoky. Here, boy. Come here. That's you? Yeah. Me. I told you to leave me alone. Leave me alone. Stop dogging me. Leave me alone. I ain't got nothing you want.
Oh, no. Ain't you?
If I have, then you take it. Honey, leave me alone. I ain't never done you no harm. No! No!
Yes, I'm the new sergeant here. Handfield's the name. Who are you?
I'm Bodley, Nick Bodley, Sergeant, from up Tybro way. This is my son, George.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Bodley. And you, George.
Yeah.
And take a seat.
Thanks.
Well, anything I can do for you, Mr. Bodley? Anything on your mind?
Yeah, there is, as a matter of fact.
All right, let's have it. What's the trouble?
It's about old Jimmy Stokes, Sergeant. He's still missing. We come in last week and told your off-sider about it. Told Constable Todd, I mean. Didn't we, George?
Yeah, that's right, Dad.
Oh, well, now I've got it. Sure, Constable Todd told me. Jimmy Stokes is the old chap who usually camps down O'Malley's flat when he's passing through. Well, haven't you sighted him yet?
No, we ain't. And what's more, nobody else has neither.
I see.
Hey, look here, Sergeant. I don't like it. I reckon something's happened to that old bloke. You do too, don't you, George?
Yeah, Dad, I reckon it must.
Something's happened to him.
Well, what makes you think that?
Well, nobody's seen him since just after Christmas, and that's done near 3 months ago. He ain't camped near any of his usual places. And I'll tell you something else.
Yes?
He ain't been to collect his pension since Christmas, neither.
Hasn't he now?
I reckon there's been foul play. That's what I reckon.
What makes you say that, Mr. Bodley?
Because he's vanished, that's what.
Nothing else?
Well, that's enough, ain't it?
As a matter of fact, it isn't. Jimmy Stokes has been on the road between here and Coonabarabran for years. He's a wanderer. Always has been. And you know, he just didn't up and take it into his head to go down to the Big Smoke for the show.
Ah.
Now, look, relax, Mr. Bodley. The betting's 100 to 1 he'll turn up.
Yeah? Come on, George, we'll go.
Yeah, Dad. Okay.
Well, now look, Mr. Bodley, be reasonable. It's not that we want...
Oh, dry up. Come on, George.
The sergeant's attitude to that first report that the old bushman was missing from his usual haunts was perfectly natural. If country policemen began hunting for every sundowner who didn't show up on the track when his mates expected him, the door of every bush police station would bear a permanent notice, "Back next week." But in this case, the realities were different. Nick Bodley and his son knew something was wrong. They patiently and stubbornly continued their inquiries for the missing Jimmy Stokes. And then, one day, on stock sale day in a neighboring town...
Hey, George.
Hey? What, Dad?
Hey, look over there by the sulky. That bay gelding.
Yeah? Well, what about it?
That's Jimmy Stokes' bay. You know, the one he had with his outfit. I'll bet me socks it is.
Gee, Dad. By gee, I'll bet you'd win, too. That is old Jimmy's horse.
Here, come on. Hey, excuse me, mate. Sorry, excuse me. Hey, just a minute. Are you over there?
You talking to me, mate?
Yeah, I am. Is this your jigger?
Yeah, it is. What about it?
Oh, nothing. My name's Nick Bodley. I live down Tybrow way. I know you, don't I?
Do you?
Your name's Schultz, ain't it?
Correct.
I'm a friend of old Jimmy Stokes.
Yeah?
Yeah. How did you come by Jimmy's horse?
Jimmy's horse? This you mean?
That I mean. I'd know that bay anywhere.
Listen, mug. That old wombat Stokes never owned this horse in his life, see? I reared him from a foal, see? From a foal!
Ah, you did. I must have been mistook, Schultz, mustn't I?
Yeah, you must. This horse is mine, see? Mine. I reared it from a foal. Remember that, Bodley.
This time, the police did take notice. This time, they had very good reason to. First, there was a specific allegation by both Nick Bodley and his son that the horse in the possession of Schultz had been the property of the missing bushman. Bodley was a reputable countryman. He was not the sort to make wild accusations, and not the sort to be mistaken in the identification of an animal. He'd lived his life in a region where people remember horses and dogs when they can't be certain of remembering men. And secondly, there was the man Schultz himself. He had his place in the files of the local police station.
Martin Stanislaw Schultz, released May, Riverfield Mental Hospital. Convictions, forgery and uttering, larceny, assault. As long as your arm. You seen this, Ellen?
Yes, I've seen it.
You know him, then?
I know him.
Yes, I see you do. Well, he's been around these parts for some time, eh?
Too long.
Is he off his head?
Well, if you mean is Schultz certifiable, then the answer's no. I don't think he is. I know he's been in and out of the Saddams half his life, but look at the pattern of his record. He commits a crime, he gets caught, he pretends madness. He's certified before he can plead and is transferred from jail to a mental hospital. Then a few months later, all of a sudden, he gets sane again and he's released. Now, Schultz is not mad, Sergeant. He's cunning.
Then,
What?
You think we may have a murder case on our hands?
I don't know. I think it's a possibility.
Right. We'd better get a move on. Where did you say he was camped?
Last I heard, he was at Cowan's Reserve, past the 10-mile peg on the North Road.
Right. You hold the fort. I'll handle this myself.
Yeah, but...
I know. He may cut up rough. But he won't for long. G'day.
G'day.
Oh, you're Marty Schultz, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right. You're the new sergeant.
Yes. A nice camp you've got here.
It'll do me.
That bay gelding over there is Is he your property? I said, is that bay your property?
He's mine. Raised him from a foal. Raised him from a foal.
And all this gear, the bike and the tents and the sulkies, all yours?
Yeah. Yeah, Doctor. All mine. All mine.
You can save yourself the trouble, my friend. You're no madder than I am. Where did you get that bay, I asked you? Come on, Schultz. We've got every good reason to believe that that horse belonged to a man called Stokes. A man who disappeared.
Stokes, eh? Stokes?
Yes, Stokes. Come on, Schultz. I'm taking you in.
Hello, Sergeant. How'd you go with Marty Schultz? Hey, what's wrong?
Do me a favor, Alan, will you?
Oh, sure.
Wind up that telephone and get me the district super. Tell Flo on the exchange it's urgent.
Trouble?
I think so.
Old Jimmy Stokes, huh?
Helen, I don't mind telling you. If old Jimmy Stokes was the only problem, I think we might be able to handle it. But Jimmy Stokes isn't. There's a lot of that gear in the camp that I think belonged to Stokes, and...
Yeah?
And there's gear I think that belonged to other men as well. Men who have gone missing, too.
The case of the vanishing bushman was one of the most intensive and difficult investigations recorded in the annals of the Criminal Investigation Branch of the New South Wales Police Force. 2 Sydney detectives were sent to help the local men, and at times large numbers of police were used to comb the countryside in search of evidence. For when property found in Martin Schultz's possession at Cowan's Reserve was carefully examined, it was found to contain articles, as Sergeant Handerfield had suspected, which had belonged to at least 2 other bushmen who habitually traveled through the district. And both of these men were missing. They'd been missing for months. Schultz was repeatedly questioned.
Come on, Schultz. We know the bay gelding belonged to Jimmy Stokes. We know you've got his bedding and his tent, his boots and the rest. And that you had his sheepdog, Smokey. Where is Jimmy Stokes?
Don't be a fool, Schultz. We'll find out, you know.
Have a thistle. Bet you something.
What will you bet me?
You didn't know thistles were good tucker, did you? Have a thistle.
Where is Jimmy Stokes, Schultz?
Jimmy Stokes? I never knew him. Never knew him.
We've got dozens of witnesses to prove that you did know Jimmy Stokes. You camped with him. We know that.
Look. Look.
What is it?
It's a bird. A bird.
Oh.
Now, listen, Schultz, we know something else, too.
Yeah. What do you know? Tell me. Look, look. Sheep. Old man Burston sheep. All over the countryside. Cripes, you'll be mad. Mad as a snake. I'm mad too, you know. I've been in the loony bin. You ask 'em.
You're not mad, Schultz. You'll never get away with that stunt again. You've pulled it once too often.
Not mad? Not mad. What do you know, eh?
We know you were in possession of a bicycle belonging to another old man named Brennan. Louis Brennan. We know that you had leather goods belonging to him. Plaited leather goods he used to make and sell for a living. We know you've had articles of clothing belonging to him. Brennan's missing, Schultz.
Schultz, where's Brennan?
It's no good, man. We've told you, that stunt won't work. The doctors won't fall for it again.
We know about Perce Weir, too, Schultz. We know you've got his sulky and his shirts and his razors and his tucker box.
And his spectacles and watch. Perce Weir is missing too, Schultz. How did you come by his property? All right, Schultz. We'll find out. We'll be back. In the end, you'll talk.
3 men missing. All old and possibly eccentric bush wanderers. Men without homes and families. Men whose movements could not be anticipated. But men who had all within 6 weeks vanished on the lonely stretches of road where Schultz was known to have been traveling at the time. But remember this, it was all suspicion. No trace of them could be found. There was nothing to prove that they were dead. Nothing to prove that they had not given to Schultz or sold to him the property found in his possession. From time to time, after days of long traveling and patient work, the police engaged on the case held conferences.
There's only one thing to do. Keep on with it until we've found some trace of them.
Or their bodies, Inspector.
Or their bodies, Alan.
Say we never find a trace.
Sooner or later, we will.
I believe that, too. But things could turn out the other way. The river and all the creeks have been flooded since Christmas.
Yes, worse luck.
You mean, if Schultz killed them, he could have burned or dismembered the bodies and disposed of the remains in the river?
That's what he would do.
Puts our weights up. But whatever happens, we'll crack this one.
We'll build up such a volume of evidence on the course of Schultz's conduct that we'll go to court and prove he's a murderer, even if we never find a body.
Crikey, I hadn't thought of that one. Evidence of system. Evidence of a course of conduct.
Before you take that sort of evidence into court, you've got to have it sewn up. The whole bang lot.
Well, come on, let's get busy. Get everything we can about the movements of the missing men and match it with everything we can about the movements of Schultz.
Okay. And what about going through the ashes of the old campfires in these places where he's known to have camped?
Do that, too. We're bound to crack something.
Bound to crack something. I wonder how many of the police really believed that. I wonder how many of them believed that they'd really be able to prove the charge of murder against Schultz without having found some remains identifiable as the body of one of his victims. Whatever they believed, they worked like dogs, covering thousands of square miles of the outback, interviewing hundreds of people, seeking to trace and reconstruct the movements of the missing men and of the accused, seeking to prove beyond any reasonable doubt a designed course of conduct, a system of behavior that would convict Schultz of the crimes that they knew in their heart of hearts he'd committed. Evidence that Schultz had had the opportunity to commit the crimes because he'd been seen in close proximity to the missing men shortly before they disappeared.
Good day.
Good day.
You're Mr. Hannon, aren't you?
That's right.
We're police.
Yes?
We're inquiring about the disappearance of old Jimmy Stokes and the others, Louis Brennan and Perce Weir. Did you know them?
Sure I knew them.
When did you see any of them last? What were the circumstances? Did you see anybody else?
Yes, Sergeant, too right. I seen old Jimmy just after Christmas. Come through here in his jinker with the bay, and half a mile behind him, Marty Schultz. I remember distinctly, because you see, it was like this. That was the week young Wally come down with the measles. And my husband, Fred, well, he was down helping with the shearing, see?
Louis Brennan? Yeah, I've been worried about him, Inspector. You see, it was like this. I bought a couple of plaited leather belts off of him, you know, like how it is, just to help the old bloke out. He was a decent old codger. Well, I was short of silver and I owed him a couple of bobs, so when he never came back, I went down to the Billabong where he camped. Well, there was no sign of Louis, but, you know what I found? A great pool of something that looked like it might have been blood. And, bits and pieces chucked around like somebody had got out in a hurry. And after that, I never seen Louis again.
That's quite correct. Perce Weir was camped down there, and so was Marty Schultz. There are a dozen people around there who saw them. It was only just after New Year. And about that dapple mare, why, old Perce had been driving her for years. You won't have any trouble proving that.
Well, there it is, gentlemen. As complete a reconstruction of Jimmy Stokes's movements, and of the others, as we're likely to get.
Yes, that's true.
In every case, Schultz was seen in the company of the missing men, or was known to be camped near them at the time of their disappearance. In every case, animals or other belongings of the missing men were either in the possession of, or are known to have been in the possession of, Martin Schultz. Right?
Yes, that's right.
Every conceivable bit of evidence we've got points to Schultz being responsible for the disappearance of these men. There's only one catch.
What?
No body.
You're right. No body. No bodies. The question is, gentlemen, where do we go from here?
Question him again.
Go on sieving the ashes of every darn sundowner's campfire from here to Burke and back.
Come on, Schultz. The jig's up, man. Why bother with the lunatic nonsense? I've told you time and time again, you've worked it to death. Tell the truth. Tell the whole story from the beginning. What happened to Jimmy Stokes?
Hey, listen, you.
I'm listening, Schultz.
Well, all right. I'll tell you. I done him. I done Jimmy, see?
I see. How, Schultz?
How? I don't know what happened, but I killed him all right, yeah.
What did you do with his body?
I don't know.
You must, man. What did you do with him?
I don't know that. What happened to him? I didn't burn him. There wasn't enough wood, see?
Go on.
I must have put him in the river.
Do you want to make a statement, Schultz? You'll feel better if you tell the truth. Well, do you want to make a statement?
Make a statement? A statement? That's rich. Yeah, that's rich. Go on, prove it, you mug. Prove that I did old Jimmy Stokes. Prove it, I say. Prove it!
After Martin Schultz's nerve cracked momentarily when he realized that pretended insanity would no longer protect him from punishment for his crimes, and he muttered his admission that he had killed Stokes, he was charged with murder. But he'd make no statement, and there was still no trace of the body. The police intensified, if that were possible, their investigations. They tried to follow the wanderings of the three missing bushmen almost foot by foot, examining every square yard of ground in localities where they were known to have camped, in an effort to discover evidence that would have weight in court. They were spurred on by other admissions made by Schultz about the deaths of Louis Brennan and Perce Weir. In the end, they got their break. At a stock route camping ground where, according to many witnesses, Schultz and Weir were camped just before Weir disappeared.
Hi, Inspector. Come down.
Coming.
Sergeant Hanfield's found something in the ashes of this fire, sir.
Has he, by George? What?
You'd better come down. He's not sure, but...
I'm coming. Onto something, Hanfield?
Maybe, sir. Look, I've just finished sieving the ashes. It was a pretty big fire by the look of it.
Yeah, it's a downside bigger than the average campfire.
Yeah, let me see what you got. Metal buttons by the look of them. Yeah, those might be, let's see, boot eyelets, maybe. And this?
Have a good look, sir. A really good look.
Well.
What do you reckon? Is it or isn't it?
Yes, Hanfield. I think you've cracked it. We won't know. Can't know for sure until the experts have checked. But I'll bet my bottom dollar it's a human tooth.
It was a human tooth. When the investigation was finished, several human teeth were found in the ashes of that fire. Further search brought to light two minute pieces of bone, which were identified by pathologists as human vertebrae. They lay between the ashes of the dead fire and the riverbank. But no other remains were found. Martin Schultz stood his trial for murder and was sentenced to death when, after a short retirement, the jury found him guilty of the murder of the bushman Weir. He was not indicted on charges concerning the deaths of Stokes and Brennan, of whose bodies no trace was ever found. But when the game was up, he admitted having killed them, and boasted that he had in all killed 13 men, all outback wanderers, to rob them of their few paltry possessions. He never disclosed details of the other crimes of which he boasted, but the police have reason to believe that he did not exaggerate. Only names, place names, and dates were altered in this true story. It was dramatized from Australian police records by Edward Dawkin. Now this is Roland Strong saying goodbye until the same time next week, when there'll be another true story in this series, which is produced in the studios of Hector Crawford Productions by Dorothy Crawford.
Dramas of the Court. We present the dramatic story of our court, where daily the unbiased administration of justice is dealt to rich and poor alike. These dramatizations in fictionized form are typical of the human interest dramas that daily crowd our courts. Tonight, an alibi that went wrong.
Gentlemen of the jury, the administration of good government is based upon a sound judicial system. In considering the case before you, weigh carefully all the evidence and be convinced beyond all reasonable doubt of the guilt or innocence of the accused before delivering your verdict.
The People versus Charles Wilmore.
The jury's been out a couple of hours now, and Charlie's not looking as happy about it as he might. There's no question of acquittal. It's just a matter of whether their verdict's going to be manslaughter or murder. What they decide is going to make a big difference to Charlie, of course, but not to me. Whichever way it goes, Charlie's going to be out of circulation for a long, long time. And that's all that counts as far as I'm concerned. You see, I'm the cop who put him in the dock. My part of the job's just about over now. So I can afford to relax and think back. Piecing the story together, it all began one evening about a year ago in the Kit Kat Club, where Charlie was having a quiet drink. Well, having a drink anyway. The Kit Kat was a cabaret of sorts, which meant it had a floor show of sorts. Usually Charlie wasn't what you'd call an avid fan of the terpsichorean art, but this night it was different. And as soon as the music was over,
Hey, Gus,
Hello, Charlie. Enjoying yourself?
in this dump, what do you think? Tell me, Gus, who's the new blonde you got in the chorus?
Not bad, eh? She can even dance a bit.
I wouldn't know about that. What's her name?
Why do you want to know?
I just want to know, that's all.
Eva Courtney.
When she's changed, tell her to come over here and I'll stand her a drink.
Maybe she won't want to come.
Tell her I said so.
Maybe she won't want to come all the more.
Listen to me.
All right, take it easy, Charlie. I was only joking. I didn't know you were interested in blondes.
I'm not.
But, I see. Just this special one, eh?
Yeah.
But a strictly business proposition to put to her, I suppose, huh?
That's right.
It's not a very original line, Charlie, but I'll tell her anyway.
maybe it wasn't a very original line. But in Charlie's case, it happened to be true. as Eva Courtney found out a few minutes later.
Is this on the level, Mr. Wilmore?
Strictly, Miss Courtney.
What's made you pick on me?
Well, I'm a pretty good judge of character. I knew you were the right one the moment I spotted you. You're intelligent.
Thanks.
You know your way around, and you can keep your mouth shut. You've had to battle quite a bit, and you're not likely to turn down a soft cuff when it's served up to you.
You must have been reading my letters. Let's just run through the whole thing once more, shall we?
Haven't you got it clear yet?
Well, I want to be sure. I move into this high-class apartment you're talking about.
Right.
You pay the rent and give me an allowance of $50 a week.
Right.
And once in a while, on due notice, you drop in for an hour to pass the time of day.
Right.
And we just sit and play double patience while you're there?
Personally, I prefer gin rummy. Oh, we could read a couple of good books.
And no other strings attached?
No other strings. Frankly, Miss Courtney, I'm not the romantic kind. In my line of business, I can't afford to be.
Just what is your line of business, Mr. Wilmore?
You're smart enough to find out sooner or later, so you might as well know now. Did you read the papers this morning?
Yeah.
Did you read about the safe-breaking job at the Producers Cooperative Warehouse?
Yeah.
Do you remember about 10 days ago, another safe went off at the Acme Carrying Company?
Yeah.
Well, now you know. And you're the only one who knows. I always work alone. You see, I'm trusting you right from the start, Miss Courtney.
Aren't you taking a chance?
I don't think so.
And where do I come in on this?
Can't you guess?
Yes, I think I can. I'm to be your alibi, is that it?
That's it. I said you were smart. I line up a job, see? After the show, I call for you here at the club. We go home together. There's an all-night porter at these apartments. We say hello to him as we go in. Maybe I don't even go up to your apartment. Maybe I just slip out the back way. I do the job, return, sneak in through the back, and go out the front. I see the porter and say good night as I go out.
Sounds simple.
It's so simple, it's foolproof. The porter says he saw me go in at 1 o'clock and come out at 2:30. You say I was in your apartment for that hour and a half having a drink and supper. As I told you, I work alone, so no one knows different. It just can't fail.
But suppose it did. I'd be in a spot with the police, wouldn't I?
For a free apartment and $50 a week, it's worth the chance, isn't it?
There's another thing, too. You realize, of course, what people are going to think.
Do you care about that?
Not particularly.
Then, what's the odds?
As you say, what's the odds?
Then you'll do it?
Why not?
Good. Shake, partner.
Of course, it didn't take us long to guess the setup. Every time a safe went off, we made a routine check. But Charlie was always in the clear.
Last night, Lieutenant? Why, I was visiting a dame I know. She's a dancer at the Kit Kat Club. Now and then I pick her up after the show and we go home to her apartment for a bite of supper. Oh, strictly on the level, you understand. I wouldn't want you to get the wrong idea about her. We're just good friends. If you want to check her name...
I know. Eva Courtney. Just friends, eh? I suppose that's why you pay the rent.
Oh, well, you see, she doesn't earn much money. And on account of her father and minor old college chum...
Did they both share the same salary?
Hey, listen, you...
All right. Well, it's a good line you've got onto, Charlie. But don't overwork it. It might backfire on you one of these days.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Think it over. So long, Charlie.
So long.
Well, that's the way it went on for 6 months or more. We were morally certain what the setup was, but we couldn't prove a thing. And it might have still been going on now, only something happened. A young fellow by the name of Andy Summers strayed by mistake into the Kit Kat Club one night, saw Eva Courtney dancing, and fell head over heels in love with her on the spot. And to complicate things further, Eva fell for him, too. Well, you can guess what happened next.
It's no good, Charlie. I can't go on.
What do you mean?
It's Andy.
What about him?
We're in love with each other.
Well, that's all right with me. Your private life's your own, so long as it doesn't interfere with business.
But don't you understand? Everyone thinks that you and I...
Oh, I get it. He's jealous of me, is that it?
Well, he doesn't know about you yet, but he's bound to find out sooner or later. He's already a bit puzzled how a girl in my position can run to an apartment like mine, and it won't be long before he's asking awkward questions.
All right. Let him ask. You don't have to explain.
That's just it. You see, he wants to marry me.
What?
And I want to marry him, too.
You're kidding.
No, this is the real thing, Charlie. Andy's all I've ever dreamed of. This is my one chance to get away from the kind of life I've always known, and I'm not going to miss it.
What's he do? What's his job?
He's a garage mechanic.
Has he got any money?
Not a cent.
And you mean to say you're prepared to give up all this? Your apartment, your allowance, your job?
I told you, Charlie, I love them.
You can't do it either. What about me?
I'm sorry, but my mind's made up.
Listen, honey. Everything's been strictly business between us, but I've treated you pretty right, haven't I?
Of course you have.
Then I'm asking you, as a friend, to stick by me just a little longer. I got 2 or 3 jobs lined up in the next couple of months. The biggest I've ever tackled. I've been organizing them for some while. Now, if I can pull them off, I'm set for life. Without you, I wouldn't have a chance. Please, Eva, just a little while more.
I don't know what to do.
6 weeks, that's all I ask. And at the end of that time, a little wedding present. $5,000. Think what you could do with $5,000 when you're married. What do you say?
Well,
Even if he does start asking questions, you can stall him out for 6 weeks. It's worth trying, isn't it?
All right, Charlie. I'll do it.
With so much at stake, you can bet Eva did a pretty neat job of stalling. It must have been rather like sitting on the edge of a volcano. But as the days turned into weeks, she began to kid herself everything was going to be all right. And it almost was, too. Charlie had pulled 2 of his jobs, and there was only one to go. And then one night late, he turned up at the club and called Eva over.
This is it, honey. The final flutter.
Not tonight, Charlie.
Yeah, tonight. I got the whole thing taped. Tell Gus you're leaving and we'll go right away.
No, I can't. Please, any other time but tonight.
What's the matter with you?
You should have given me a day or so's notice. Don't you understand? Andy's coming here to pick me up tonight. He's due any minute.
You'll have to put him off.
I can't.
You'll have to.
Please, Charlie. If he finds out now, it'll mean the end of everything. Make it tomorrow night or the night after.
I tell you, it's tonight. Don't you realize this is the big cleanup, the grand finale?
Oh,
What's the matter?
here he comes. Oh, hello, Andy.
Hello.
Andy, this is a friend of mine.
A certain Mr. Wilmore, I presume?
Oh, you heard?
Yeah. I've heard quite a lot. Only I didn't believe it till now.
Hey, just a minute, pal. You've got Eva all wrong.
Have I?
We're just friends, that's all.
Well, of course, Andy. You don't think...
I don't think anything. I just let the facts speak for themselves.
You don't have to go off the deep end just because I happened to have dropped in and bought Eva a drink.
I don't know why I don't sock you on the nose.
I wouldn't try any rough stuff if I was you, pal.
Don't call me pal. Eva, I'm going home now. You coming?
Well,
Eva's staying here with me.
Please try to understand, Andy.
I understand, all right. Good night. And goodbye.
Andy!
Let him go, honey. He'll be all right in the morning.
return in just a moment to continue our story. But first, a word from our announcer. We resume our story, An Alibi That Went Wrong.
It wasn't Charlie's lucky night. After Andy had made his exit from the club, he and Eva went home to her apartment to set his alibi. And then he went off to his job. There was a watchman to cope with, but Charlie had everything timed to the minute as usual. Only on this occasion, his timing went wrong. Just as he got the safe open, he heard a noise and reached for his gun. Next second, there was a click of a light switch.
Stick 'em up. Stick 'em up. I've got you covered, guy.
Got to get out of here. Gotta get out.
The old man was dead when we got there. Now, safe breaking's one thing, and murder's another. We'd suspected Charlie of earlier jobs, but we'd never been able to prove anything. This time, it was different.
You think it was Charlie Wilmore, Lieutenant?
I'm certain of it.
Well, I sent out a general alarm. He shouldn't be hard to pick up.
Yes, I suppose you'd better. But no, wait. Charlie's too shrewd to try to run for it. He'll be there when we want him.
With his alibi, I'll bet.
Yes, that's the whole point. We'd be wasting our time trying to take him in. We've got to break that alibi of his first, or we haven't got a chance.
That's not going to be easy.
No, but it's got to be done. You take charge here. I'll see you back at the station later, perhaps.
Where you going, Lieutenant?
To have a talk with a woman named Eva Courtney.
You'll get nothing out of her.
Maybe not, but there's no rule against trying. Eva Courtney's apartment was only one place I called at that night. By the time I'd finished, it was 8 o'clock next morning. I snatched a cup of coffee at a little cafe and then called to pay my respects to Charlie. He was home all right, as I'd guessed he would be. He was in pajamas and dressing gown, and he'd just finished breakfast and was reading the morning paper when I came in.
Sit down, O'Neill.
Thanks, Charlie.
What can I do for you?
You read the papers yet, Charlie?
Yeah.
There was a safe-breaking job at the Central Tire Company's office.
So I see. The watchman was shot, it says. That's bad.
It's going to be bad for someone. We don't like murder very much.
Who does? The paper says it happened at 25 to 2.
Yes, that's right. We were able to find a couple of witnesses who heard the shot.
That should make it easy for you. All you have to do now is to find someone who can't explain where he was at that particular time. And you've got your man.
Yes, that's all. It shouldn't be any trouble at all. By the way, Charlie, what did you do last night?
You don't mean to say you think I did this job, do you? I never shot a man in my life.
No, of course not. Just a routine check, you understand. Well?
From what time?
Oh, it doesn't matter. Let's start at, say, midnight.
Well, at midnight, I was in the Kit Kat Club having a drink with a friend of mine.
Miss Courtney.
That's right. How did you know?
I guessed. And afterwards?
Gus, that's the fellow who runs the club, said she could go early, so we left together about 12:30. We took a taxi to Miss Courtney's apartment, 56 Winchester Court.
And then?
I was a bit peckish, so she suggested I go in for a snack or supper.
What time was this?
About 1:45.
So you went in and had supper?
That's right.
And I suppose you stayed a while?
Well, we're old friends, you know. We got to talking, and before we realized it was 3 o'clock.
You left then?
That's right.
Apart from Miss Courtney, is there anyone who can verify these times?
Yeah. Tony, the hall porter. He saw me come in and go out. You can check with him if you like.
As a matter of fact, I have.
Then why ask me all these questions?
I just wanted to hear the story from you as well. During the time you were with Miss Courtney, did you have words?
How do you mean, words?
An argument.
No. Why should we argue? We're old friends. We always get on very well together.
But you did have words with a certain young man at the Kit Kat Club, didn't you?
Oh, you mean Andy Summers?
That's right.
Well, I did have to tell him off a bit. He's been hanging around Eva, Miss Courtney, and making a nuisance of himself, so I warned him off. There was nothing to it, really. I just told him to beat it, and he did.
Would I be right in saying you were jealous of this fellow Summers?
Why should I be?
Quit stalling, Charlie. Isn't it a fact that when you went in her apartment, you accused her of two-timing you and...
Hey, what is this, anyway?
You couldn't have read your paper very carefully, Charlie, or perhaps yours is an early edition. Here, take a look at mine.
I don't get it.
Right on the front page. A little item in the top press, printed rather appropriately, I think, in red ink.
Dancer found shot in apartment. Early this morning, the body of Eva Courtney... I don't believe it.
Do I have to take you round to the morgue and let you see for yourself? No one heard the shot, Charlie, but the doctors fixed the time of death at between 1:30 and 2:30, and her wristlet watch broke when she fell, and that stopped at 1:47. You were in the apartment, you say, from 1:45 till a little after 3.
No, I must have been mistaken about the time.
Aren't you forgetting Tony, the hall porter?
I didn't do it. I swear I didn't.
Somebody did.
It must have been Andy Summers. He was jealous of her. He must have gone to her apartment after he left the club.
The only person who went to her apartment was you. It's no good, Charlie. You're in, right up to your neck. It's now my duty to arrest you on a charge.
No. Wait.
Well?
Give me time. Give me time to think.
I'll give you just 10 seconds. And don't try to do anything else but think, because I've a gun and it's loaded.
I know when I'm licked. You know the law pretty well, O'Neill. This watchman at the tire company.
What about him?
Would that be murder or just manslaughter? I mean to say, it wouldn't have been premeditated, would it? He just caught whoever was doing the job, and they both went for their guns, and the other fellow was faster. He didn't actually mean to kill him, but just to put him out of action.
Was that how it happened, Charlie?
I don't know. I'm just supposing. What would a jury say to that? Would they break it down to manslaughter, do you think?
I don't know.
But there would be a chance, wouldn't there?
Yes. There's bound to be a chance.
All right. I'll tell the truth.
Not here, you won't, Charlie. If you've any statement to make, you can make it at the station before witnesses. And I'll have it typed and you can sign it. Come on, let's go. At the station, Charlie spilled the whole works. His meeting with Eva Courtney, his proposition, her acceptance. He listed every job he'd done under cover of her alibi. And he told us all about the previous night's affair in the tire company.
I didn't mean to kill him. I give him a word of honor. I never killed anyone before. I've never even used a gun before. But it was all so sudden, and I suppose I lost my head. Even after I'd got away, I still thought I'd only wounded him. And it wasn't until I read the newspaper this morning I realized he was dead.
Is that all, Charlie?
Yes, I don't think I can say anything else.
I don't think you have to.
There you are, Lieutenant.
Thanks. Sign here, Charlie.
Yeah, of course. There.
Good.
Do do believe I wasn't in Eva Courtney's apartment at any time last night, don't you?
Of course I believe you.
Then what about this fellow Summers?
What about him?
Well, it must have been him. They'd had a quarrel, you see. It couldn't have been anyone else. Aren't you going to arrest him?
That won't be necessary.
You mean you got him already?
No, I mean there's nothing he could be charged with.
I don't get it.
There was no shooting in Eva Courtney's apartment last night, Charlie. She's as alive as you and I are.
Yeah, but they're reporting the paper only.
Ah, that's the beauty of having friends among the gentlemen of the press. Only one copy of the Clarion carried that stop press item. By special request, it was set up and printed for me. The jury's coming back now. There's a hush in the court as they file in. Charlie's standing in the dock. He's looking very white. The foreman's standing now, reading from a little bit of paper.
We find the prisoner, Charles Wilmore, not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter.
Well, I'll be darned. Charlie's gone and fainted.
In a moment, I'll return with further news of these real-life dramas of the courts. But first, your announcer.
The court is adjourned until next week.
Be listening next week, same time, same station, when we present another real-life story in Dramas of the Court.
Yep.
Get your ass in here, Sid.
Yes, boss. Oh, God.
What have you ballsed up this time, Fish?
Oh, shut up, Farquharson.
Come in, for Christ's sake, sit down.
What's wrong?
Can you keep your mouth shut?
Is Paul Keating a Catholic?
Of course Paul Keating's a bloody Catholic. What the hell's that got to do with anything?
Just what is it you wanted, Barry?
My wife's walked out.
That's too bad.
No, I don't give a stuff about that. What worries me is that she's cleaned out our joint account and holed up at Ridges.
The gambling joint? Mrs. Cromer?
Well, according to her boyfriend.
Boyfriend?
Oh, stop repeating me, for Christ's sakes. Look, it was a man's voice on the phone. Two-faced slut.
What else did the boyfriend say?
Well, that she wants to talk to me.
So? Well, where do I come in?
Well, use your brains. I campaigned against legalising two-up. I can't afford to be seen fronting some gambling den in bloody King's Cross. You're going instead.
Don't recall seeing this on my duty statement.
You could always find another job.
Well, what am I supposed to tell her? Well, assuming she is there, that is.
Well, find out what she wants. But don't promise her anything.
Cromer had every right to be worried. As the opposition spokesman on morals, manners and motherhood, none of which he'd experienced firsthand, he couldn't afford a missing wife with criminal connections. It looked as if I'd be doing damage control. I was no stranger to sleaze. After all, I was his press secretary. It was my old mate, Lizzie Darcy. We'd had a brief fling years ago, and Lizzie had turned me into a friend. Lizzie pretends to be a journalist,
But she's really an anthropologist, and we're her tribe. Although she's spent a lot of time as foreign correspondent in North America, what she doesn't know about Sydney isn't worth knowing.
It's me. We need a comment from the old boy on the latest unemployment figures.
Oh, okay, I'll fix it. Give me 15 minutes to dream something up. I've got to go. I'll talk to you later.
Hold on a minute. What's going on with Margaret Cromer?
Why?
One of our photographers told me she's missed 2 appointments today with no explanations from you lot. Are you on strike or something?
No. She pissed off on the old boy and the stupid bugger didn't tell us. Now we all look like idiots.
She walked out, you mean? It's about time. The woman's a martyr, if you ask me. Is there a story in it?
No. It's just a lover's quarrel.
Now, why don't I believe you?
Well, probably because I'm paid to tell lies. Look, mate, we're having a bit of a crisis here. Can I get back to you?
Okay, but if somebody else gets this story, you're a dead man.
Farquharson, get over here. Cancel Mrs. Cromer's appointments for the next 2 days.
Why? What's the story?
Flu.
As in flew the coop?
Just one word, Farquharson, and you'll end up in the brackish waters division of fisheries, filing tadpoles. Ridge's illegal gambling club hunkered behind enormous reinforced wooden doors in the back street of King's Cross. The place was so famous it even appeared in tourist guides. The only people who couldn't find it were the police. The door was opened by Luther Huck, a fat man with a grudge. I'm trying to find a wife.
That's funny. Most of the punters who come in here are trying to lose theirs.
Not mine. Somebody else's.
Sounds better already.
I'm looking for Barry Cromer's wife.
Here? Shit, she wouldn't be caught dead in a dump like this.
Better not let your boss hear you talking like that, mate. Here, this is Margaret Cromer.
Good looker. In a ladylike kind of way. We don't get many ladies at Ridges.
There's $100 in it if you do.
We'll see.
Outside, it was a normal night at the Cross.
Want a girl, love?
I elbowed my way through the strollers and gapers to Fitzroy Gardens, beat some dithering tourists to the last table in a coffee shop, and watched the denizens gearing up for the night's commerce. Ancient, tattooed 15-year-olds painted over the bruises and struggled into spiked heels.
You don't have to tell everybody you chucked me out, you bastard!
Giggly Japanese tourists photographed each other against a backdrop of round-eyed riffraff, and the yuppies began to trickle in for pre-dinner drinks at the expensive bistros.
What can I get you, sir?
A long black, please.
You sure you don't want some cake? We have hazelnut tart, carrot cake, black forest cake.
No, thanks. Oh, wait, I'll have the black forest cake. What had I got myself into? Why would a woman like Margaret Cromer be hanging out in a dive owned by a crim like Ronnie Brackenridge?
Jason Smith. Plenty to like about this game.
Yeah?
What are you eating?
Ham and pineapple pizza?
No wonder you look like shit.
Thanks. What do you want?
She's here.
What's she doing?
Having dinner with Ronnie.
Ronnie Brackenridge?
No, Ronnie bloody Barker. Bring my $100, fish.
Before I set off, I rang Cromer's house to tell him where I was going. I wasn't exactly expecting to get kidnapped and bumped off, but people have been known to have accidents at the Cross. Sid Fish here, Barry. Friday, or 11 p.m, I'm on my way to Ridges. My money disappeared into Luther Huck's enormous paw faster than an ace up a card-sharp sleeve. I'd probably never be able to squeeze it out of Cromer, who still had the first pound note he'd been bribed with. They're over there. Sure enough, there was Margaret Cromer dining with Ronnie Brackenridge. Ronnie was a spiv with friends in politics, the racing fraternity, and some of the meaner streets of Southeast Asia. The man was vulgar and probably too good looking, but he had the sly verve of a snake oil salesman and the nerves of a futures trader. He'd have a certain appeal after Fat Barry.
Give us a beer, will you, mate?
Foster's, Heineken, Cooper's Light, Cooper's Ale, Corona, Forex, Cascade.
Corona. And no bloody lemon in it.
That'll be $10, sir.
Over the top of the most expensive beer in the Southern Hemisphere, I watched Margaret Cromer basking in Ronnie Brackenridge's attention. She didn't look anything like the tamped-down wife in the photograph. This woman was all teeth and tits, and Ronnie was in imminent danger of falling down her cleavage.
Would you like a photograph, Mr. Brackenridge?
What do you think, Ma? Yes, Cheryl would love one.
It'll only be a minute, Mr. Brackenridge.
I've been wondering if I should bust up the party and frog march Margaret Cromer back to the North Shore, or try to reach Cromer and let him do his own dirty work. It was too late now. Ronnie Brackenridge had the sort of photo that tabloids would kill for.
Very nice. Thanks, Cheryl. Buy yourself a drink.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Brackenridge.
Don't we make a handsome couple?
I'd had enough. Tomorrow would be soon enough to drop the bombshell on Cromer. I'd lost my appetite for pizza, though. Outside, the cross was in full roar. It was a shock after the gilded gloom of Ridges.
Live six. Singles and couples, welcome. What about you, sir? You look like...
I fought my way through the thickening crowd of revellers, fortune-tellers, hookers, buskers, drifters and grafters and their victims, innocent or otherwise, and headed for home.
Still stuffing yourself with donuts, I see. You won't live past 50.
Don't get your hopes up, Farquharson.
Oh, by the way, the old boy's been yelling for you since dawn.
Well, where is the bitch? Well, at this moment, I'm not absolutely certain, but last night she dined at Ridges as a personal guest of the proprietor.
Brackenridge? That smarmy bastard. Brackenridge, my ass, is obvious he's a wog of some sort.
Oh, please, Barry, not even in jest. Remember the ethnic vote.
Why? The bastards always vote Labour anyway. Besides, a wog's a wog. Probably one of those Italians from Griffith Mafia, for sure.
There's more. Pictures.
Oh, God.
Pictures of the happy couple over dinner.
Well, go and see Brackenridge. Find out what the hell is going on. Oh, that bitch is up to something.
But wouldn't you rather handle this yourself? I mean, it's a very personal thing.
Brackenridge is taking photographs. Do you want a picture of my wife and that slime ball on the front page of the Sun Herald this weekend? I'm paying you to keep me out of the papers, in case you've forgotten. Now get out there and deal. If you don't want to do it, I can always get Farquharson.
What's going on? The old boy's so nervous he's breaking out in boils.
Farquharson, do us all a favour and join the Labour Party.
This is Ridges nightclub. There's no one here at the moment. Staff will be back on duty at 7 p.m. Please leave your message after the tone.
Luther, it's Sid Fish here. Set up a meeting with Brackenridge for me, will you?
With nothing to do till 7 p.m, I escaped to the Wentworth Hotel, a favourite watering hole for political staffers, public servants and lawyers.
What'll you have, Sid?
Give me a scotch.
No, it's that bad, is it?
No, I told him we should appeal it. He said, You want to get another penny out of me, you greedy bastard.
So, what'd you think of the Labor win?
Well, I had $100 on it with Farquharson.
You know, I was convinced they were going to win up until Thursday.
Yeah.
Then I really got the wind up. It was those dim-witted journalists telling us the Liberals had it in the bag.
Did it change your vote?
Of course not.
Well, there you are, then. It didn't stampede the diehards, and the swinging voters were so scared of the GST, they opted for the status quo. Simple psychology, I would have thought.
Hindsight, you mean? Farquharson's probably decided you're a member of the fifth column by now.
Sometimes I hate this job.
Could be worse. You could be a lawyer.
Yeah, I got a bad feeling about this one, though.
Want to tell me about it? Or is it top secret?
Well, it's classified, but who cares? You know how to keep your mouth shut, otherwise you wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes in this snake pit. Here, have a look at this and tell me what you think.
Not a happy lady. Who is she?
The boss's wife.
Oh, no wonder she looks as if she's lost the will to live. Depressed, I'd say.
Say, Betty, a couple of Coronas here with lemon?
Betty was right. Knowing Barry, I could see why Margaret Cromer had bolted. What I couldn't understand was why I was helping him to get her back. The several drinks helped numb my conscience. At about 5 o'clock, I put in a guest appearance at work.
Where have you been, for Christ's sake? The bloody phones are ringing off the hook and the old boy's going bananas.
Well, what's going on?
Well, somebody's told the media Margaret Cromer's shot through, and they've got wind of some photographs of her and her new boyfriend.
Jesus Christ.
Uh-oh. Don't look now.
Where have you been? Making inquiries.
Well, come into my office.
Now! The press are onto the bloody photographs.
Do they know who's in them?
Well, I don't think so. They've been fishing, but we're refusing to comment.
Yeah, very wise under the circumstances.
Yeah, that bitch is behind this. Now, what have you been doing to earn your keep?
Well, I'll be talking to Brackenridge tonight. Maybe we should rethink our game plan. They've just upped the ante, I'd say.
Yeah, well, give her what she wants. Just make sure you get all the copies, that's all. And listen, if you screw this up, you'd better start rejigging your CV.
Smelling of grog and aggro, Luther Huck let me into Ridges without a word. Brackenridge appeared, wearing a Zegna suit and more aftershave than a Mexican airline steward. We shook hands. A manicure, too.
Waiter, Mr. Fish, something to eat. It's on there, Sid.
Thanks. Calamari and chips and a Heineken.
Jesus, Sid, live a little. Have the lobster at least.
Bugger the lobster, Ronnie. Let's deal.
You want $100,000 for the picture?
He'll never pay it. He's tighter than a budgie's bum.
How is the old boy taking it? What with being the anti-gambling crusader and all?
Not all that well. He suggested you were a wog on the make.
At least I don't beat my wife.
And that's when it clicked. I took out my photo and placed it beside Brackenridge's. The look on Margaret Cromer's face was fear. The woman I'd seen last night at the club had never been afraid of a man in her life.
Well?
It's a better job than fine cotton, Ronnie. But it's still a ring-in. Who is she?
I'll get her.
This was too easy. Ronnie hadn't played his trump card yet.
I'm Katie Kincaid, Margaret's twin sister. Thank you, Ronnie, darling. I think I can probably manage now.
Ronnie beamed at her, gave me a hard man look and left. I could see why he was beaming. She was a knockout. Katie Kincaid and Margaret Cromer were identical twins. But up close, you could see the difference. This woman was tough and confident and totally in charge.
Satisfied?
What's the perfume?
Money. I'm sure you'll appreciate that it's taken considerable effort to set this up, Mr. Fish.
Sid.
Okay, Sid. And you've buggered it up.
Oh, not totally.
I see. Perhaps you'd like me to explain why I did it.
Be my guest.
My sister's been married for 15 years to that pompous bag of shit. He humiliates her in public, and he slaps her around. He's destroyed her confidence, but he hasn't managed to ruin her life yet. She wants to put all this behind her, to forget.
$100,000 buys a lot of amnesia.
I prefer to see it as an accident compensation package. Loss of earnings, pain and suffering. And Marg's practically unemployable. There isn't a great demand for doormats out there.
Well, this is pretty radical for a doormat. What's your sister's role in all this?
As a matter of fact, she doesn't know. She's holed up in my apartment at the Gold Coast having a nervous breakdown. She thinks I'm away on a business trip.
Which you are.
Which I am. Marg had enough gumption to take some money out of a joint account to get away, but she's terrified Fatso will come after her and beat her up.
Well, I'm sure he's giving it careful consideration.
I've got friends too, if he wants to play it rough.
Yeah, I've noticed. She could always take him to court.
Be realistic. Cromer would buy himself a smarmy QC and wipe the floor with my sister. And she'd give up without a fight. She's a lady, you see. And ladies lose.
I liked her. She was tough and funny and could have put the state of Victoria into profit in 12 months. Whatever her game, I was on her team. All that remained was to get the ball past Barry, and it looked as if I'd be carrying it.
What's that constipated look mean?
I'm thinking. There's just one thing that bothers me. How come Cromer didn't spring you? He must know his wife's got a twin sister.
If he'd twigged, the cops would be crawling all over me by now. I've never actually met the man. I was overseas doing the grand tour when he married Marg. If I'd been here, I would have tried to talk her out of it. As it turned out, Cromer kept her away from us bog Irish Kincaids in case we put the bite on him. Margs had to sneak around behind his back to see us.
Yeah, sounds like the Cromer I know and love.
Besides, he's a cheat. And cheats are easy to con. They get overconfident.
There's just one little thing, Katie. Where does Ronnie Brackenridge fit in?
I was wondering when you'd get around to that. Ronnie and I are old friends. We went to the same high school in the western suburbs, and I ran into him again at university.
University? Ronnie Brackenridge?
Sorry to shatter your illusions, Sid. Ronnie did a BA. Financed it with gambling. Playing poker with the Asian students. And winning, of course.
Cheating, you mean?
Oh, we don't know that. I seem to recall he had a racehorse, too.
Ronnie Brackenridge, BA, I don't believe it. The bastard can't read or write.
He didn't have to, he can count. And I did all his English assignments.
Well, how did he get away with that? His lecturers must have known he was illiterate.
I used to make him write them out in his own handwriting, and I'd put spelling mistakes in, for authenticity.
How'd he do?
Passes. I didn't think they'd swallow distinctions somehow.
My silence made Katie think I was shocked. It wasn't that. I was outraged. I'd failed English.
Don't knock it. Ronnie paid very well. It beat the hell out of waitressing.
And you kept in touch?
Not at first. I tried saving the world for a while, living in a cockroach farm and teaching in my old school. I couldn't hack it.
I don't see you as a school teacher somehow.
Neither did I.
How did you get out?
I hit Ronnie for a loan and took off for the Gold Coast. The place was full of men boasting about how they'd made their money. I was a good listener. They loved that. They weren't interested in my opinions. It didn't occur to them that I had a brain.
How unsporting of them.
Oh, don't get me wrong, Sid. I'm not whinging. I knew what I was doing. I got an education. All those blokes got was a quick feel.
What did you do with it? The education, I mean.
Paid Ronnie off. Played the stock market and used the profits to buy a dress shop. I've got 2 now, and a block of flats. So you can see why I've always had a soft spot for Ronnie. He showed me it could be done.
Okay. I'm in. I'll give it a go.
Good. You might need these as corroborating evidence, so to speak.
Yeah. Nice skin tones. You and Ronnie photographed well. Katie Kincaid was no fool. She knew I'd been shaken by the pictures of her and Ronnie snapped in very compromising positions. She leaned over and kissed me.
Sometimes you need a snake to catch a toad.
So what did that make me?
Where have you been? It's 9 o'clock, I've got the media breathing down my neck, and you've been sleeping in.
I was up half the bloody night negotiating with your wife.
Oh, don't give me that shit. Margaret's a wimp. It's that gigolo who's running this rort.
Yeah, be that as it may. They want 100 grand for the photo.
100 grand? Now, where does she think I'm going to get that sort of money? Oh, they're mad. I won't do it.
And what'll I tell the papers?
Well, I tell them she's cracked up, having a nervous breakdown, menopausal, any bloody thing. It's only a picture of her sitting in a nightclub with a spiv, for God's sake.
I hate to have to tell you this, Barry, but there's more.
More what?
More photos. Like this one.
Jesus H. Christ, how could she do this to me? Oh, what'll I do?
Pay up. They've got you by the balls.
You don't seem very sympathetic. You're supposed to be protecting me.
I am. I'm telling you to face facts and cough up the dough. You don't have any choice.
Okay. But make sure you get the negatives. Tell him it's going to take me all day to raise the money. And tell that slut she better leave the country. Because next time I see her, she'll have more to worry about than a black eye.
To make a long story short, I couriered the money to Katie Kincaid and picked up the photographs. Oh, not all of them, I'd wager, but enough to keep Cromer quiet. Back at the club, she counted the bills, then stacked them neatly in a leather monogrammed briefcase.
Thanks, Sid. You're not a bad operator. Next time you're in Surface Paradise, drop in and see me. You'll always be welcome.
Yeah. Along with all the other con men, fugitives and losers, in search of some sunshine and a ray of hope, I thought, as I watched her leave for the airport in Ronnie Brackenridge's Jaguar. Cromer never did find out exactly what had happened, but with the unerring instincts of a sewer rat, he knew I was in it up to my armpits.
Get in here.
Cromer was sprawled behind his huge leather executive desk in his leather executive chair, with his fat arms clasped behind his fat head. He exuded a degree of arrogance exclusive to political hacks, bankers, property developers and successful drug importers. He started in even before I sat down.
The trouble with you is that you're arrogant. But you're not nearly as smart as you think you are.
What seems to be the problem, Barry?
Well, I don't want any smart asses on my staff. You come in late, you can't get along with your colleagues, and you're not getting me enough good press. You're fired. Well, haven't you got anything to say for yourself?
Yeah. I do now you come to mention it, Barry. Do you still beat your wife? That night, I sat down with a large scotch and considered my options. My list of saleable skills was alarmingly short, and I'd burned my bridges in politics and journalism. But there had to be some kind of market out there for snoops and fixers.
Then they all interviewed the brothel owner's solicitor.
But the fact is that men want to be discreet, they don't want to be identified. I guess it's possible that they are, Randy, but why don't you have control?
Dave, Sid.
So, the old bastard finally gave you the push.
It didn't take you long to find out.
Sweetheart, the tom-toms have been beating all day.
Farquharson.
Yeah, the little shit's ecstatic. So what's as I hear about Margaret Cromer walking out on Bazza?
It's true.
Are these two matters connected by any chance?
Pure coincidence.
So don't tell me, you lockjawed bastard, you'll keep.
No, seriously, Dave, I want some advice. You work for the police minister.
I'm not fixing any more parking fines for you, so don't even bother to ask.
No. It's not that. Look, I need a job. I thought I might try to get a private detective's license. Like, what do you have to do? Do you need some sort of training?
Well, for spying on people, telling lies, bribing public servants and consorting with criminals, you gotta be kidding. With your background, you're a natural.
The dame was running just as fast as her beautiful gams would take her. That in itself was okay. If a gal wants to exercise, let her exercise. What I took exception to was the guy behind her. It was near the loo, an old warehouse. The dame came to a dead end. The guy stopped running. The dame had her back against the wall. The guy advanced slowly towards her. He had a gun in his hand. That's when I entered the proceedings. Hold it, Buster. Don't turn around.
Watch him.
The guy fired. Missed. I fired. Did... Ooh! Okay, now let's see what this is all about. Pick up his gun, will you?
All right.
Oh, my arm. What are you talking about? I only winged you. What's your name, Buster?
Haile Selassie.
Oh, you ought to go on the amateur hour.
Something tells me you're a bit of an amateur yourself.
I didn't get his meaning till it was too late. The girl moved around the back of me, and then... Two little fellows with sledgehammers were at work inside my skull. I pushed myself to my feet. Stood there swaying for a while. Finally, focused my eyes enough to look at the luminous dial of my wristwatch. 10:20 p.m. I'd been out for at least 5 minutes. The girl and the guy were gone. I couldn't figure it. But I didn't like the idea of saving a blonde's life and then have her massage the back of my skull with a gun butt. So I decided to do something about it. The Club Kitty near the cross isn't the sort of place you take your maiden aunt. But it's the sort of place where you find information agents like Bluey Porter.
Hi, good day, Kent. How you going, eh?
Hiya, Bluey.
Oh, sorry, hey, Kent. Sit down, will you?
Thanks.
I'll introduce you to a nice Sheila later on if you like.
No, thanks, no.
Eh? Oh, gee, you feeling bad, are you?
Yeah, I got a job for you, Bluey.
A job, eh? Well, I've been pretty busy lately, Kent. I don't think I can sort of fit it in. Not at the usual rates, that is. Well, you know how it is. It's supply and demand.
Yeah, I know. Now, if you're through romanticizing...
Eh?
I want you to find a girl for me.
Girl, eh?
Yeah, a girl.
Yeah?
Now, before I came here, I stopped at home, made a sketch of her.
What do you mean?
Here, look at this now.
Gee, gee. You ain't a bad artist.
Well, I think it's a pretty accurate picture, right down to the legs.
I'll say. Yeah, right there. Hey, you sure you didn't sort of, exaggerate?
No,
I mean,
no.
it's a...
It's a scale drawing, Bluey.
Gee, eh? Oh, what a humdinger. What a bobby dazzler. Ah, gee, no wonder you want to find her. Yeah, well, what's her name?
Well, I don't know, but I got to look at the initials on a purse. L.M.
L.M.? Gee, that's a help. Blonde, eh?
Yeah.
Eyes?
Blue.
Yeah.
I figure she's a model or in show business, Bluey. Now, you know a lot of the hangers-on in both rackets.
If you mean, Kent, I have associates in both businesses, you're just about right, Kent.
Okay. Associates. I'll call them anything you want, but locate that dame.
Well, blimey, I've never found her yet, have I?
You really want me to answer that?
Oh, well, like there was once or twice when, due to causes outside me control,
Yeah, I had to slap you around.
Yes,
with
well,
it,
now,
remember?
about the rates. Because, look, I'm really so busy, Kent. The demand's so big for me that the...
£5 a day, Bluey. 25 when you find her.
Right.
So, you find her on the first day, and you've done fine.
Yeah, well, thank you very much all the same, but I'm not satisfied with those rates, Kent.
Bluey, you remember the time I kept my mouth shut about a little packet of diamonds?
Yeah.
Well, I've still got a receipt you signed.
Right?
Yeah, and Customs would very much like
now,
to...
wait a minute. Now, can't you take a joke? You always fly off the handle, don't you? All right, Kent, all right. Just taste it up. Soon as we're good coppers, I'll be magnanimous. I'll take the job at your rates. With, like an advance, maybe, eh?
Here it comes. You haven't changed much, have you?
No, thank you.
Here you are. £5.
£5? You couldn't make it...
No.
Oh, okay, Kent, okay. I'll get busy for you first thing in the morning.
Bluey checked by phone in the morning. Then I didn't hear from him for 2 days. Finally, I went to the dirty little tenement where he lived. I knocked on his locked door for a couple of minutes, figuring he might be sleeping off a rum bout, and then...
Here. What's all this, eh? What's going on here?
Oh, good morning. I'm looking for Bluey Porter.
Well, he ain't in.
Well, do you have any idea of where he is?
That might be according to who's asking. And why. And maybe one or two other things.
Well, first, I'm a friend of Bluey's. He was doing a job for me.
That's real funny.
What is?
Anybody being a friend of that rabbit-faced little weasel.
Well, we've got a sort of understanding. Anyhow, you see this?
Oh, my eyesight's pretty good. That's a quid note.
Mm-hmm. Now, you tell me where I can find Bluey, and it's yours.
Oh, can't buy much with a quid these days.
Well, look. Suddenly it's 2 quid.
That's a little better.
It's as good as it's going to get. Now, where's Bluey?
Surfer's Paradise. Took a plane yesterday morning.
Surfer's Paradise? Well, where would he get the dough to go there?
All I know is he bought a new suit, paid me a month's rent in advance, phoned for a taxi, and off he went. Even showed me his air ticket.
Thanks. I checked at the airline office. A Mr. Bertram Carlisle Porter had boarded a plane for Surfer's Paradise. So, the next morning, a Mr. Larry Patrick Kent boarded another plane for the same destination. I found Bluey on the beach. He was wearing a pair of bright red trunks with yellow crayfish in the design. I came up behind him. He was pulling at a bottle of rum. The next thing I did made Bluey think one of the crayfish had come to life. Hello, Bluey.
Kent. Well, gee, Kent. Fancy meeting you way up here.
Yeah, fancy.
Yeah. Never figured on seeing you here.
What are you doing way up here, Bluey?
Well, I was working so hard, you see, and a bloke should have at least one holiday a year, so, well, you know, here I am. What are you doing up here like, eh?
Oh, same thing, more or less.
Gee, that's fine, that's fine. Does you good, don't it?
Yeah, I need a holiday, too.
Yeah, you look at, I ain't got no hard feelings, nothing like that.
Hard feelings?
Yeah.
No, Bluey. Now, to prove I feel just like I've always felt about you, I'm going to invite you to my room for a drink. How's that?
A drink, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a nice bottle of scotch up there. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, okay. You know, I always say there's nothing like having a drink with an old cobber. That's what I always say.
We walked across the sand, over the road, and into the beachfront hotel. My room was on the 2nd floor. After you, Bluey, old pal.
Thanks, Cobb. Gee, real nice little room you got here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, they must slug you a bit for it. Hey, You lock on the door, Kent.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm putting the key in my pocket. You see?
Yeah. I can't. Now, don't look at me like that. Now, don't look at me like that.
You chiseling little rat.
Aye?
Who gave you the dough to come up here, Bluey?
Why, nobody. I've been saving me money. I've been reading those ads, you know. Quit a week I've been putting away, so I... No, don't. Iced it up, Kent. You know I've got high blood pressure.
I asked you a question, Bluey. Who paid you to come up here?
Well, like I said.
I hate to do this, old cobber.
No.
I'll come out with it then. I sent you looking for a blonde whose initials were LM, and you found her, didn't you?
Now, listen, Kent, old copper, listen, have a bit of a...
You found her, didn't you, Bluey?
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Okay,
No,
here
wait
it is.
a minute. Oh, you're an iced tasty.
Well, come on, start
No,
talking.
wait a minute. Fair dinkum, I'm telling you the truth. Look, I didn't find the Sheila. No, wait a minute. Don't swing that dirty big leg of mutton at me. Listen, don't lose your head no more, please. But my blood pressure won't stand it. I got varicose veins, and I got spitting headaches, and I got me sinus troubles. Wait a minute, I'll tell you how it happened.
Go on.
Well, look, a friend of mine in a rag game said he thought the Sheila might be a model, see? So he asked questions for me. And I saw him a few hours later, and, well, he just clammed up on me. He wouldn't say a word. Well, you know, like in the excitement and wanting to do a good job for you, I'm always...
And your blood pressure,
yeah,
I know.
Yes, and me veins, you know.
And your sinus.
And me sinus, yes. Thank you. You're very sympathetic. Well, I walked around for a while, you see, and you know what? Somebody followed me. He was a big bloke.
Busted nose?
Yeah, that's right. That's him. Anyway, he caught up with me, you see. You can still see the red marks under me.
Yeah, well, come on, keep talking.
Well, after he did me over a little, he pushed me into a black car, and we saw a bloke named Harry Cassidy.
The speculator.
That's him, which is a good way to say racketeer. Anyhow, Cassidy said, why was I looking for the girl? And I said that it was confidential, and then he let me have it again, and he could punch harder even than another bloke. Well, I made quite a fight of it for a while. You know, I chucked lefts, right, and...
Come on, get to the point.
Yeah, well, all right. Well, the point is they forced me to tell them about you. So they give me some dough to come up here and forget about the blonde. They told me to stay up here for at least a month.
Did they now?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to disappoint them, Bluey.
Hey?
Yeah, we're going down to Sydney.
Now, look, Kent. Now, look, I like up here.
We're going down. And we're going to see Mr. Harry Cassidy.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. You know how we're going to end up, don't you, Kent?
How?
Ruddy shark bait.
Bluey and I caught the next plane down to Sydney. After landing at Mascot, we went straight to my apartment.
Oh, gee. I need a drink, Kent. Fair dinkum, I need a drink.
Yeah, help yourself and pour me one.
Oh, yes, good out. I certainly hope you know what you're doing, Kent. That there Cassidy bloke's a tough customer, believe me. And so's that right-hand man of his.
His right-hand man was chasing a dame. After I took his gun away, she whacked me over the head with it. I want to know why.
Look, I'll tell you why. We should have stayed up at Surface Paradise. That's the why. Listen, you know, there was a Sheila up there who almost talked to me. She came up to... Oh, it doesn't matter. It's no good romanticising. Here's your drink.
Thanks.
Well, cheers.
Yeah, here's to a short, happy life.
Hi. Oh, strike me. Don't go saying things like that, Kent. I tell you, look, this Cassidy bloke's real tough. Fair dinkum.
But where does he come into it? Why didn't he want me to locate that blonde? Why was his boy after her with a gun? Why did he send you all the way up to Surface Paradise?
Well, I don't know. And to tell you the truth, I ain't too interested.
Yeah, but you and me, we're going to find out what gives, Bluey.
Well, I hope you don't expect me to do no action work like shooting or nothing like that. You see, the trigger finger, I sprained it a couple of months ago, and it ain't never been the same since. It's sort of, you know, like it palpitates all the time.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, well, thanks. I knew you'd understand, Kent. Of course, I'd like to help you out if it comes to shooting, but, you know, my trigger finger, you know.
Well, don't worry, Bluey. I don't expect you to make like Humphrey Bogart. Just sit near that phone, that's all.
Phone, eh?
Yeah. It's now just after 3. If I don't get in touch with you by 5, get on to Inspector Daniels.
Hey, where you going, Kent?
To see Harry Cassidy. Harry Cassidy had a suite of offices that took up the entire 9th floor of the Metropolitan Building. In the general office were 6 dames, 3 blondes, 2 brunettes, a redhead. They looked as though they might have been picked right out of the chorus line, and that's exactly how Harry Cassidy had got them. They gave me the up and down coldly. When I asked for the direction of Harry's office, one of them pointed. They were about as warm as Eskimo pies. But the dame who sat behind a desk in the inner office, she was different.
Hello.
Hello.
Something I can do for you?
Yeah, that's right, Doris.
Vivian.
Oh, how do you do, Vivian? I'm Larry.
Well, hello, Mr. Larry.
Kent.
Oh.
Well, looks to me like the name rings a loud bell.
It's possible.
It's too bad it's not your personal bell.
I'll find out if Mr. Cassidy will see you.
You know darn well he'll see me.
If you'll please be seated.
Oh, suddenly you're all business.
Oh, this is a business office.
Yes, what is it, Vivian?
Mr. Larry Kent to see you, Mr. Cassidy.
Send him in.
Yes, sir. Mr. Cassidy.
I heard. You know, it's too bad.
What's too bad?
You're the only warm dame in the organization, and you've got Cassidy's stamp on you.
It could be that you're not as smart as you think.
Well, this is one time when I wouldn't mind apologizing.
Mr. Cassidy's office is right in front of you. Walk straight in.
Thank you. If I should yell for help...
The office is soundproofed. I wouldn't hear.
That's what I thought. I'll see you some more, Vivian.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's just what I was thinking. Harry Cassidy sat behind a huge desk. Cassidy was a fashion plate right off the pages of Esquire. He was good-looking in a big-jawed, narrow-eyed way. A movie director would type him as a suave crook. I had another name for him because he peddled dope and there were rumors about white slavery.
Well, you look just like your pictures in the paper, Kent. Saw you on the front page a few weeks ago when you got back from the States.
I saw your picture once, too. Something about peddling dope to teenagers.
Suspicion, Kent, that's all. Suspicion.
Which is just another way of saying the cops couldn't prove anything.
Did you come here to start an argument?
I came here to ask you about the blonde.
Blonde?
You're the one the guy with the busted nose was chasing.
You're not making sense.
I hear the guy with the mashed beak is your gun cell.
Where'd you get that?
Oh, from a little snoop named Bluey Porter.
Porter?
Oh, come on. Climb down off your horse, Cassidy. You're not fooling anybody. Where's the blonde?
I've got a few in the general office. Take your pick.
The blonde who slugged me after I saved her life.
Sometimes things aren't all they appear, Kent.
That's the same as admitting you know about the blonde.
Who hired you?
Nobody.
And keep your nose clean.
She slugged me. I don't like being slugged.
And I don't like fellas getting in my hair.
Oh, you won't get me out as easily as you got Bluey Porter out.
Now, look, I don't like trouble. I go far out of my way to avoid trouble. So I'm going to make you an offer. You in the market?
Maybe. Keep talking.
I'll give you 250 cold to just forget about the blonde.
Something tells me 250 isn't nearly enough, Cassidy. You want me to stay out of this for far more than 250 quid's worth now, don't you?
I'm not used to fellas holding me over a barrel, Kent.
What are you going to do about it?
This?
I didn't see you do anything.
Hold it, Kent.
Well, busted beak. And a gun.
Vince was waiting in the back room. All I had to do was touch a buzzer button with my foot.
I'll bet you can even do algebra.
He's smart, Mr. Cassidy. Just like they say. He's always got a wisecrack handy.
Frisk him.
Yeah. Turn round.
I turned. Vince pulled the .38 from my shoulder holster.
Now he's got to get a lesson, Vince.
Yeah.
What a lesson. Cassidy joined in, too. They bounced me back and forth.
One more. There, that should do it.
Maybe he hasn't had enough, Mr. Cassidy.
Oh, we don't want to mark him up too badly.
You're very big-hearted.
I told you I don't like trouble, Kent. And here's further proof of it. 250 quid. I'll shove it in your pocket. Now, forget about me and Vince, and forget about Lola.
Lola, huh?
Forget her.
And make sure you do.
Take the clip out of his gun, Vince, and give it back to him.
Huh?
Do as I say.
Okay. Here you are, Private Eye.
Thanks.
Goodbye, Kent. It's been nice meeting you.
Yeah.
Don't forget to be smart, Kent.
So long.
Well, that interview didn't last too long. My, your eye is starting to swell.
Does Cassidy ever beat you, too?
I think you've got the wrong idea, Mr. Kent.
Well, don't tell me he keeps you out here because you can actually type.
You'd better go before I hit you over the head with the typewriter.
I went. When I got home, Bluey was still sitting at the telephone table. There was an empty scotch bottle on the floor.
Good night, Kent. Hey, cover.
I think I'll get that way, too, Bluey.
Huh?
Yeah, we'll crack a bottle.
Good out, crack it. Anything to be sociable with an old cover.
Bluey's eyes weren't focusing.
Oh, listen.
He didn't see the beautiful shiner I was sporting or the bruises on my jaw.
I'll put a glass. I'll get your glass.
He'd forgotten about Cassidy and just about everything else.
Sweet out a line. Sweet out a line.
Shut up!
I
want to think.
Oh, gee, think.
Yeah, about Cassidy and the blonde.
Huh?
Hey. Got it.
Got what?
I looked at my watch. 5:15. I made a phone call.
Cassidy? Harry Cassidy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll cost a lot more than usual, Kent.
There's 50 in it, Shadow.
50, huh? Okay, Kent.
I had a few more drinks with Bluey. He was romanticizing
Things
again.
are really tough in the first war. Yes, sir. There was this machine gun nest, you see, and they asked for volunteers. Sergeant Bluey, the general said, "You're the bravest bloke I ever did see, and I'm putting you in for the DSC. Tommy is doping me in for the DSC." Well, of course, I said real modest-like. Yeah. Hey, what's that?
Larry Kent.
Shadow here. Listen, I followed Cassidy from the Metro building. He didn't go to his place. He went to Coogee to a house on Beach Drive. Number 234.
Thanks, Shadow. I'll leave you 50 with my landlady, in case something happens to me. A phone call, and a ride in my car, and a back door. A skeleton key job. The third one worked. I walked down a long carpet runner. And then?
I think Kent will stay out of it, Lola. If he doesn't, he is really dumb.
You shouldn't have got that bee in your bonnet about running out on Mr. Cassidy, Lola. You should have known that nobody runs out on Mr. Cassidy.
I had an attack of conscience. I wanted to get out of the rackets.
You can't afford a conscience in our business, honey. Once you're in, you stay in. Don't make the same mistake again, or Vince may not bring you back into the fold.
All right, I'm over it now.
That's the girl. You see, I couldn't let you run out. You know too much about me.
I showed how things stood with me when I hit Kent over the head with a gun, didn't I?
That's what saved you, honey. If you let Kent have Vince arrested, well, I'd have had to take care of you.
Maybe you should have, Cassidy.
What? Get him, Vince!
Oh! I had an extra clip in my apartment, Cassidy.
You...
Don't go for the gun. Well, I told him not to. Lola, now you can exercise that conscience of yours. Listen, that'll be the cops I phoned. Better make up your mind.
I should have trusted you in the beginning.
She talked. She also gave me Vivian's surname. Later, the cops rounded up Cassidy's mob, but I wasn't worried about that. I got Vivian's address from a phone book, took her out to dinner. Then we went to my apartment for some coffee.
Hey, Kent, I was just going to...
Yeah.
Company, eh?
Yeah, Bluey. Good night.
Aye?
Good night.
Oh, but wait a minute. Don't.
Now, let's see, Vivian. I apologize to you for thinking you couldn't type, and then on the street corner...
You did this.
Yeah. Brother. Good night.
Police File. True crime stories which made banner headlines in your newspapers. Stories as in the files of your police department and gathered from the records of one of the largest newspaper organizations in the Southern Hemisphere. Tonight we glance at the file on Edward Charles Wilson. As usual, all names used are fictitious, but the facts are true in this story of how your CIB trapped the man who was probably the most accomplished counterfeiter in the history of crime. They called him Mr. One by One. He walked alone down the broad highway of crime. Like most counterfeiters, he was a quiet man, studious, thoughtful. He carried his capital equipment under his hat, and his tools of trade could be fitted into a small suitcase. And then he would stop and consider a purchase. His hand would go to his wallet, and he would extract one banknote. A banknote for £10. As he looked at it, his eyes were not covetous, but admiring, proud. After all, hadn't he made it himself? Then he would look up and say,
"Would you change this? I'd like it in singles, if you don't mind."
The bank manager waited for one of his senior officials. As he waited, he stared thoughtfully at the piece of paper that lay on the desk in front of him. And the bank manager was a very worried man.
Come in. Oh, Burnett. Come in.
Is it about the Williamson account, sir?
No. Sit down, Burnett. Look at this.
A perfectly ordinary tenner.
Is it? Well?
Well, I'll take it over to the window if you don't mind. Yes. Very odd. The serial number's right. It looks perfect. Good crackle. Only one thing I can see wrong. There's a very small flaw here on the coat of arms on the left-hand side.
Exactly. Try it on all our tellers, if you will, Mr. Burnett. Be casual about it. While you're away, I shall ring the CIB.
Yes, sir.
Detectives Benson and Riley came post-haste at the bank manager's call, and they sat with the manager in his office. When they'd examined the note, they looked at each other.
Well, what do you think, Riley?
I've never seen anything like it. I don't mind admitting I'd have passed it.
Yeah, same here.
You're in good company. It's been tried on all our tellers. Not one of them hesitated to change it.
Who stopped it?
I did. I suppose it's because I've a lot more experience than some of our men. This isn't going to be easy, cracking this one.
You're telling us. The man who did this is an absolute past master in the art of photo engraving.
Am I right in thinking that the only real flaw is on this coat of arms?
Yes, Mr. Riley. Beyond that, it's perfect. It's the paper I can't understand. It's so good. Listen to that crackle. Of course, I don't need to tell you that feel has a lot to do with detecting forgeries. It doesn't take long to sense automatically that crispness of a genuine banknote.
And yet your teller's passed it.
Every one of them, Mr. Benson.
Well, it looks like a long road ahead. What do you think of this for a start, that the public are warned?
I think it would be a very good idea. You see, the serial number, V16, etc., is quite in order.
That's current, is it?
Yes. To the ordinary person, gentlemen, there's only one thing wrong with this tenner. It wasn't made at the government mint. I wish you luck.
Thanks. You'll let us know if...
As soon as we sight another one, of course. About that warning through the newspapers. I suggest as soon as possible.
Today. Come on, Riley. The weights are up.
And so the public was warned. It isn't every day of the week, of course, that we handle £10 notes. But we get a bit of a shock if we did try to change a forged one. Meanwhile, the long job of tracking down the forger started, and Detectives Benson and Riley soon had their first report to work on.
Read what the boys in the back room said about our tenor?
Yeah. The work of a past master, all right.
Now, to pin down who it could be. Let's look at that list of names, Riley.
Any favourites?
I've noticed you've marked yours. Yes, I agree with that.
These three photo engravers are of Middle European nationality.
Yes, quite reasonable suspects. I don't think one of our local boys could turn up with a job like that.
Odds are some gang has one of these engravers on its payroll. They could afford to pay him well, considering the work he's turning out.
Big stuff. No fiddling about with florins with this mob. By heck, it's going to be tough trying to fit this one, Riley.
Well, where do we start? Keeping these three merchants under observation?
Well, let's go and see the chief. Keeping tabs on these boys is going to be a round-the-clock job for somebody. Well, looks like it's a washout, Riley, on those engravers.
The chief's called the watchdogs off, eh?
Yes, took them off this morning. What they've learnt by following them would fill a book, but it isn't very interesting.
And no clue to the forgery?
Yeah. Well, what we do now is... excuse me. Benson speaking. Oh, yes, yeah. Oh, put him on. Oh, hello. Oh, yes. When was this? Yes, we'll be right down. Thanks. What's that? Nothing so far. But what you've got might help us. We'll be there in 10 minutes. Our friend the bank manager. Another phony tenor reported from Melbourne and one from Brisbane.
They're starting to move, eh?
Capital cities. Easier to pass. This looks like a big organization, Riley.
What about the serial numbers?
All in order, right down to the watermark. Now, who but the best forger in the world would try to reproduce a watermark? Come on, let's go.
The new forgeries were well-nigh perfect. The same slight flaw in the coat of arms was the only identification, without careful expert examination, that the note hadn't been made at the mint. That was in November. In December, the chief of the CIB rang down to Detective Benson.
Yes, sir. Yes. How many? Yes, sir. Right, we'll get onto it right away.
What did the chief want?
Me, to take charge of 5 more phony tenors.
Oh, that looks as if somebody's going to have a Merry Christmas.
It's good money. It's our best break to date, though. Our only break.
No, I don't see it.
Oh, Christmas time. The gang will want to spend freely. They start tossing them about too freely. And that's when we walk in and grab them. Now, let's make the list of likely places where they'd be changed.
Banks, obviously.
Well, I don't know. Risky. I'd put race courses first. Bookmakers are always in a hurry.
Departmental stores, big merchants.
No, we'll get on to them all. What we need here is cooperation, and a lot of it. If once we can get hold of somebody passing one, he might spill the beans on the whole gang.
Well, I'll take the bookies. They're going to hand out a lot of tenors over the...
Benson speaking. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, yes, coming right up, sir.
Chief?
Yes, reckons I'm slow. While he's sitting waiting for me to take off the 5 phonies, 2 more have come in. Looks like they're going to be as common as tote tickets before it's all over.
They were discovered in a small but steady stream. Just when it seemed that perhaps the gang was lying low, another one would appear. The men of the CIB had their hands full keeping the accurate tally of appearances.
Now look at this, will you? Just when we've decided the base is in Sydney, we've got a small crop in Newcastle.
Happened last week. We're going to ask them down in Melbourne to move in on Sutter. And we got 3 in Brisbane and 1 in Bathurst.
Yes. Odd, you know.
What's the deduction?
No, darned if I know. No gang could be that big. It wouldn't pay.
I'll go that far with you. They'd need too many paid helpers to pass them off. By this time, we should have grabbed one of them.
We've checked on every known photo engraver that there is.
Right through the country, no dice.
We've examined every possible system or setup that we've ever known or heard of in this racket.
Still nothing.
There's only one answer left, the way I see it.
What?
Imported stuff. It must be imported.
Europe?
Yeah. Now, you remember that big report we read way back about Hitler and his forgery gang?
Oh, yes, I remember. He had currency of every country made ready so that when he invaded, he could knock the currency for a loop with his phony stuff.
That was it?
Had some of his best scientists working on it, too. Hey, wait a while. That doesn't add up.
Why not?
Well, the serial numbers on these phonies. How could Hitler or anybody... How could they have known 10 years ago what numbers would be current today in Australia?
Or maybe somebody out here has a suitcase full of the stuff and has been waiting for just this time to release it.
No, don't make it too hard. We'd never catch him at that rate.
It doesn't seem like it. Now, that's a thought.
What?
You said, never catch him. Now, why shouldn't this be the work of only one man? Why does it have to be a gang?
Well, it doesn't have to be a gang.
That adds up. The way they've been falling, 1 here, 2 there, another one 1,000 miles away, and then a couple a few miles off. It's one man, Riley.
Mr. One by One, eh?
Yes, Mr. One by One. By heck, what a hunt this is going to be.
Well, he's as shrewd as a barrel full of monkeys, that's all I can say.
He's got it down to a fine art, eh? Manufacturing and distributing. Look, he could push out 1 a week for the rest of his life. And where would we get our break?
Nowhere.
Come on, we'll see the chief. Benson? Yes? Yes, where? Where was this? All right. We're on our way, Jack. Thanks. Thanks for the one real break we've had. That was Jack Courtney. They've discovered a horde of phony tenors down in Glebe. 185 of them. Now we're really on the trail of Mr. One by One.
The horde of forged tenors had been found by 2 council employees. It was purely an accident, but the men of the CIB knew how to capitalize on chance happenings like that.
So that's the way it was, Riley. The council employees saw this nut here protruding from this iron air vent. Gave it a pull and...
Out came the air vent. And a sock. And in the sock, 185 tenors.
Yes, not a bad haul. If they've been genuine.
Listen, you setting a watch on this secret hoard?
Ah, yes. Constant watch, night and day. And if our Mr. One by One comes back, well, that's when we move in.
But Mr. One by One did not come back. The CIB watched the secret hoard for nearly 3 weeks, but nobody was seen coming near the event or tampering with it in any way. Meanwhile, Detectives Benson and Riley had not been idle.
Our fellow must be wary, Riley. I don't think he'll go near that hiding place now.
No. Maybe he reckons he can afford to let them go anyhow, eh?
Yes, he probably can. At the rate he's turning them out. And the perfection of the job.
What's the tally now?
Now, let's see. 2 months ago, it was 114 passed in 20 months. But in the last 2 months, we've seen the average go up. He's passed 70 in 8 weeks.
Well, that's nearly £90 a week. That's good money, earned or not.
Good money, all right. What I'm trying to make out is how he can change them in such varied spots. Here, there, and everywhere. He must travel around like a salesman.
Risky, too, carrying so many on him, you know.
Anyhow, let's look at this report.
Yeah. What is it?
Well, I asked the office to make out the complete list of known forgers, whether in jail or not.
Anything of interest?
In just a moment. Oh, now here is the list of forgers not at present in jail.
Well, what do we do with this? Check through and find where they are?
Anything for it. One of them must be our man. Or should be, anyhow.
Or unless there's a newcomer on the scene.
Yes, could be. Always the chance of a newcomer, I suppose. Ah, but the work is so good, it's probably an old hand. Don't forget there's a past master at work. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's done this sort of thing and maybe time out at the bay before.
The detectives checked through the list. It was a long job. Finally, they came to one name they couldn't check on. And the name was...
Edward Charles Wilson.
No sign of him. I couldn't get a lead anywhere on Wilson.
You couldn't, eh? Well, let's look at his file. Got 2 years in 1949 for forging tote tickets.
Yeah. Not a bad job done of him, either. Were you in on that?
No, I was on leave at the time, I remember. All right. He's the only lead we have. The only chance we've got, correct?
Well, we've accounted for everybody else. So it's either Wilson or a newcomer.
We'll forget the newcomer. We'll look for Wilson. And I think the logical place is round the neighborhood of the hiding place at Glebe.
The detectives started their patrol of the Glebe district. It was efficient and unobtrusive, and finally, it got results.
Benson. He's right across the street. Don't look. On your right.
Coming this way?
No. Turning down into Wattle Street.
Oh, yeah.
Huh?
Which one? The old dark blue suit?
Yeah, that's him.
Right. You go after him. I'll trail behind you. And I hope he leads us in the right direction.
To the hiding place?
I doubt if he'll do that. But maybe he lives in that house. On your way.
Edward Charles Wilson was followed as he went about Glebe, peacefully attending to his personal affairs. Finally, he turned in at an old house. The house where he lived?
The wrong place.
Not so far from the hiding place, though. He could easily be the man to have planted the stuff there.
Yes, true enough. Well, he's the only lead we've got, so we better use him.
Another round-the-clock job, eh?
Yes. If we follow him long enough, he may lead us somewhere.
Yeah.
At the rate he's putting the tenors on the market now, it may not be so long at that.
Edward Charles Wilson had no knowledge that his every move was watched by the men of the CIB. He had only to set foot outside his door, and they knew exactly what he did until the time he got back again. And the report that Detectives Benson and Riley were making started to make interesting reading.
What do you make of it, Benson? This constant visiting the post offices.
I think what you think, that the letters he picks up contain the forged tenors. Am I right?
I think so, yeah. Clever, then.
Mm-hmm.
It means, too, that he never has more than one on him at a time.
Mm-hmm.
No good trying to catch him with a load of the stuff.
We found out that the names he uses are false names. That means organization. Making note of the post office and the name he's put on the letter to be picked up.
Well, do we move in yet?
We'll get a couple of those envelopes first. Nothing like a bit of evidence to wave in his face, if it eventually comes to that.
Can you see him?
Yes. He's at the counter now.
Another packet?
Yes. Similar type to the others.
Which way is he coming out?
The other door.
Oh, yeah.
We'll amble along behind, and if he throws the wrappings away, we're not too proud to pick it up.
Opening it now.
Oh, yes. Look out. He's stopping. Into this doorway.
All right. Has he opened the packet?
Yes. Moving on now. Come on.
Hey, listen. If he doesn't throw the wrapping away, I bet we move in anyhow.
This is good. There it goes. Look, in the gutter. Pick it up as we go past, Riley. Right. Into this doorway with it.
That's what we want, all right. Addressed to Mr. E.C. Morgan. I want to lay a bet that this package contained phony tenors?
Yeah. And I'll pay you in phony tenors, too. Come on, let's get back to headquarters. Now we can move in on him at our leisure.
Mr. Wilson's a bit shy of visitors.
He's here, all right.
Can't hear anything, can you?
No, not a sound. Come on inside. Open this door.
Who is it?
Right the other side of the door. Wilson, open this door.
I'm busy. What do you want?
Are you Edward Charles Wilson?
Yes?
Don't you remember me, Wilson?
You're Riley. Detective Riley.
That's right.
What do you want?
We're coming in. We have a warrant here. A warrant for your arrest.
Come in, then.
It's a nice little place you have here.
Why have you come to arrest me?
We believe you're responsible for the counterfeit tenors that are being pushed out. Are you?
Counterfeit tenors? That's silly.
Yes, it might be. And we might have made a mistake. We're going to search this place, Wilson.
I can't stop you, can I?
No, you can't. All right, Riley, let's see what we can find.
You want any help?
You can sit there, on that chair over there.
You won't find anything in this place to connect me with forged tenors. I know nothing about it.
We'll soon find out, won't we?
Why do you pick on me? It could be anybody.
True. Anything in there, Riley?
No, nothing. No equipment of any kind, Benson.
And there's nothing in here.
Oh, you're wasting your time. I don't know why you should have got a warrant out for arrest.
Maybe we thought we had something to go on.
There's the books to... what's this box?
Leave that alone.
Sit down, sit down. Well.
Tenors. Beautiful new phony tenors. How many here, Wilson?
Over 400.
Whoa. Hey, they got the right sound, too. You know, you don't know just how good you are, Wilson.
Yes, I do.
All right. Where's the equipment?
Above you.
What? Oh, there's an attic up there.
Yeah.
I see the way. I'll go and have a look.
They're good, aren't they?
Very good. Why did you do it, Wilson?
I wanted money.
I suppose we all do.
I wanted money for a special purpose. I haven't wasted one penny of what I got.
What special purpose?
I'm working on some inventions. They cost money to finance.
What sort of inventions?
Oh, all sorts.
from work on cosmic rays to rain-making experiments. It's expensive. It costs money to experiment.
Having any success?
Who knows? Experiments are never ended. No, you just keep going.
And meanwhile, you were making our currency look silly. You mean to say this was more or less a spare time occupation while you carried on with your experiments?
Yes, I didn't need a huge fortune, just enough to finance the things I had to buy from time to time.
Well, I'll be darned.
What's funny about it?
We had you taped as a huge gang. International crooks, the works. And all the time you just wanted a steady income so you could carry out a few experiments.
To me, they were important experiments.
I'm glad you said were, because those days are over. Riley!
Bring Wilson up here, Benson. Oh, what a perfect setup.
Coming. Much stuff up there?
Much stuff. Heck, there's hardly any. He's been turning out tenors with stuff that you could fit into a small suitcase.
It was true. Cheap enamel dishes, special developing paper, cameras, zinc plates, acids, and mirrors seemed to be practically all that Edward Charles Wilson needed.
Wilson, how did you do it?
I studied. I studied for 6 months. First at the public library. I know as much about this game as any master engraver. In fact, when you come to consider it, I am a master engraver, aren't I?
And so the master engraver was brought to justice. The Crown prosecutor joined with Wilson's defense counsel in agreeing that Wilson was a frustrated scientist who had a natural flair for invention. In other fields, Edward Charles Wilson could have gone a long way. As it was, the men of your CIB had brought him to court to hear from the judge that he was to serve 7 years jail. And that was the end of Mr. One by One.
Every door has a key. There's a key to every situation. Behind every unopened door, there is a mystery. And the opening of this door introduces us to another in the series, the key.
Zabalski's dead.
Dead? Who killed him?
You?
I did. You're crazy, Keeling.
You killed him. You did the Polson job together. 20 grand. The watchman was killed. You lit out, taking the dough with you. You double-crossed Sabalski.
Well, maybe I did, but I didn't kill him.
Now Sabalski's dead. And the cops have your gun. With your fingerprints and 1 shot fired.
What are you talking about? I haven't got a gun. I haven't had a gun in months, Keeling. You know that.
Cops don't like you. They didn't like Sabalski. But he's been killed, and they've got your gun. With your fingerprints and 1 shot fired.
Yeah, but that gun killed the watchman. And Sabalski confessed to the killing.
I got news for you.
Huh?
Gidio aims to take over your city territory. To do this, he has to get rid of you, but permanent. He's fixed it to make it obvious you wanted Sabalski dead. You did. Sabalski was the character who could send you up for a lifetime. Now, Sabalski is dead.
Well, maybe he is, but I didn't kill him.
You've been hiding up here in the mountains, Nordal. Gidio in the city has had time to fix things real pretty. As far as you're concerned, and Gidio, you killed Sabalski. Now, Sabalski being dead, and the evidence being fixed,
Don't you suppose the cops will take advantage of it? Seems to me you've got a safe deposit key on you. Safe deposit with 20 grand inside. Seems to me that key is the key to the whole situation right now.
Lock that door, Keeling. We'll talk over the situation.
Can't get over that fact, Nordal. Sobalski has been killed, cold-bloodedly and intentionally. There's only one thing to do. Collect your dough from the safe deposit and get out of here.
But I've been safe enough here since the Paulson job. Why should things suddenly change now?
Because Sobalski is dead. Medio has fixed it, so...
All right. Tell you this, though. I'm not giving in that easy. If the cops come after me here, I'll fight.
What with? Fists against guns? Your chance is to get the dough and get out and... What's that?
Hey, lay off the nerves, will you? Nora drops the cup and you start jumping around like a dope. Hey, what's the matter with you, Nora?
Better scram, boy. Big black car coming up the track.
What? The cops. This you, Keeling? You and the rat again?
Lay off. Cops and me are strictly oil and water. Be taken by the cops along with you? No, thanks.
They followed you. They followed you here. They tagged your car.
What's the matter with you? Yelling yak and the cops driving up to the front door. Get out of it. Run, Nordy.
No. I've done my running. Give me a gun, Keeling.
Like being naked in Times Square?
But you gotta let me fight my way out.
And be cut down. Oh, look, you're crazy. Run for it, Nordy.
Listen to me. If you've ratted, Keeling,
For Pete's sake, get out of here.
You're mine, Nora. You're mine. You come, too.
I've got no reason to hide out.
Come on. Is there something between you two?
Of course there isn't. Now will you go?
All right. You be around, though, Keeling, and you too, Nora. I'm coming back.
For a big time in order, you're awful slow on the getaway.
Give me a gun.
No. Give me that gun.
Get wise. A gun and Sobalski dead. Cops would cut you down and laugh.
Hey, how did you know Sobalski died?
I got ears. Can flap them, too.
All right. But they're not gonna take me.
That's not the postman.
Now let them come. They ain't gonna take me so easy.
Hello, Nora.
Gidio.
Hello, Nora. You all alone here?
No, not now. The rats are so thick around here, a ship must have sunk.
They tell me you got some dough in a safe deposit, Nora.
Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. You aim to take it?
Now, boys, you got along well enough in the past. Why fall out now?
Nora, grab your ears and pull your head over your mouth. Any femme squeaks is a slapping for sure.
Why'd you come here, Gidio?
Sobalski's been killed. You hear about it?
Maybe I heard tell.
Like medals, I pin them on. I'm pinning this rap on you. Plain talk, Nordal. Give me the 20 grand from the Paulson job. Get out yourself. Or I'll kill you. I'll get you, get Nora, get 20 grand, and take over your territory.
That safe deposit key is someplace you won't find.
All right. All the same. I get you, get Nora, get your territory. Yes, I can make do with either 20. One thing, Gidio. Killing. You got a flea, Gidio? You maybe feel you want to scratch? Go for your gun, and I'll save you the trouble. I'll shoot the flea. Funny stuff. Been thinking that line up long? Been thinking you're making a fool of yourself. Sobalski's dead, and Nordal knows the heat's on him. Why choke up another killing to yourself when the cops can do the job for you? Yeah. Makes sense. But Since from a dope makes me edgy. What do you want to help Nordal for?
I'll tell you honest. Nordal and I, we worked together on a few jobs. I don't like the guy over much, but I don't want to see him cut down. If the cops get him, well, that's different.
No, you touch me.
He hasn't got a chance, Gidio. Sadowski dead and the cards stacked against him. Let him go. Let the cops do the killing.
You got the drop on me, Keeling. Okay. But I tell you this. The cops had better get him. If they don't, you'll be the one cut down. And it won't be done fast. All right, Nordal. You got 15 minutes to clear out of here. Down on Highway 7, there's a bunch of cops in a patrol wagon. They're going to be told where you are. Goodbye. Okay, boys, climb. We're leaving the fish to fry itself.
Hold it. Let him get away. Okay, we move. Got my car on the back. Okay, Nordal? Nora?
Hey, I don't know as I get this, Keeling. What's the game? What's the idea?
Nordy. I'm for talking Keeling's car. You got a chance to get away, now you take it.
Yeah, but I
15
don't...
minutes, Nordal. That isn't a lot of time. Let's get going.
You're on the make, Keeling. You're up to something.
Up to shooting you if you don't move.
Oh, Nordy, come on. Maybe you don't mind the cops catching you here, but me, I'd like a perm again. Keeling, believe it or not, country living is not my style.
I believe it.
Hey, but where are we going? Haven't moved out of that cabin inside 5 weeks. 6, maybe 2 months.
Make up your mind. Going? What does it matter so long as we do go?
The cops are after me. Why do you bother?
Why did I bother coming out to warn you? On account of I don't like Gidio. On account of you're out of the city permanent. And on account of a lot of things.
What things?
Look, Nordy, we're getting away. The cops are after you because Sabowski's dead, and if they get you, they won't be cooking you with gas. Oh, what more do you want? Keeling to be brainwashed, maybe screamed, and all because you don't know why a pal helps you out.
Get in, Nordal. Better come around the other side, Nora. Easy to get in. All right.
Easy.
See?
Hidden.
Suspicious?
No.
Well, here we are. In you get, Nora. That's the girl. Well, if it's nothing else, it's a nice day for a ride. Hope we don't meet the cops coming up, going down. As a matter of fact, Nordal, I'm not only going to get you away, but I've got an idea how to get you off that murder rap Gidio fixed so nicely.
Oh, yeah?
Of course, it's strictly business. I can't throw his brains around for nothing.
Well, how far are you throwing your brains, and for how much?
Oh, maybe $1,000, $2. You can never tell how much a guy's life is worth to him.
What are you talking about? I haven't got 1,000. All I got right now is $13.
13. It's unlucky.
Yeah. Unlucky for me. I don't get 1,000. Unlucky for Nordal. He doesn't get away from the cops. Of course,
Yeah?
Of course, there is the 20 grand. The 20 you've got locked away in that safe deposit.
Keeling. I took risks for that. That I keep forever.
See that? Right past the police car, and they didn't look at us. No doubt about it, we've got to have luck in our business. Like you had, Nordal, with the Polson affair. Except for killing the watchman, of course.
That wasn't luck.
No?
Nah. Gadget. My gadget. Yeah. Fixed it in the watchman's lunch tin.
Don't say.
Real clever.
Yeah. He opened it. Wham, he got ammonia blown in his face. All we had to do was tie him up. Kind of a pity he recovered. Didn't know ammonia worked off.
Smart, I'll say.
Nordy's clever, I'm telling you.
Hey, what was the idea, Keeling, about getting me off the Sobalski murder rap?
Oh, no. I'm not so dumb either. Cash and I talk. Dollars make the world go round. Greasy dollars. Lovely.
Yeah, I'd rather go to the chair than hand out that dough. I fought for that dough. I did all the planning. It's my dough.
Watchman died. Sobalski's been killed. If you want to make 3, that's okay by me.
Hey, how was Sobalski killed? Who killed him?
You'd never guess. Not in a million years you wouldn't. Don't worry about how he was killed. It was fast, if that's what you mean. You never heard?
No, I never heard. No newspapers. I couldn't have them delivered. Didn't dare go out and get one.
No newspapers, no TV, no radio. Boredom. Chronic. Maybe we are on the run, but it's good to move.
Anyway, forget Sobalski.
Forget him. Forget Sobalski on the run for a murder I didn't do, even though it may look I did.
If you hadn't double-crossed, then the cops wouldn't have known it was to your advantage to have Sobalski out of the way. If you... Hey.
What's the matter?
Behind us.
Well, you better go faster.
Oh, cop on a motorbike just means you're going too fast. Speed limit on this highway.
No cops. State trooper. And state troopers around these parts don't waste time with no nickel-pinch speed limit.
Well, go faster then. He's coming up fast.
I'm driving. I go what speed I like.
You slam this old jalopy along as fast as it'll go. You don't, and I'll slam your head through the windshield.
Forgetting yourself, Nordo. Sure, I'm driving. And this gun says you're keeping still.
But you got me out of the hideout. Why are you stacking up on me now?
That's easy, Nordo. I want dough on account of beating the murderer. Dough from you.
Oh, I get it. A pal only for dough.
You get it. Do I get it?
Oh, come on, Nordy. That cop's getting almighty close.
I'll visit you in Jug, don't you worry. Boys, you want to pay a social call to that death cell?
Well, I haven't got the dough on me. I told you I got $13. I told you before I had only $13.
I don't want the dough on you. I'll make do with the dough in the safe deposit box.
Better that than what'll happen if you hold out, Nordy.
Rats. Brother rat.
Sure. Hungry rats. Hungry rats don't care. I've never heard of ethics. You gonna give me the key of that safe deposit?
Yeah, you can't win. Risk everything, you win out, then get everything thrown at you. All right, Keeling, here you are. The key to 20 grand.
Gee, thanks. Only a little key, but boy, is it full of promise. Well, guess this is where the cop gets a rapid lesson in driving. Funny thing, I thought it would work out this way. All along the line, driving up to see you, I kept saying to myself, you watch. This will be the way it works out.
You concentrate on your driving, or it won't work out anyways for us.
Rat. Bad loser, isn't he? Especially for a man who rat at first. I've noticed that. One heel always tries to make out the other heel has spurs on. How's the car?
Holding with us.
Not for long. A bit along here, there's a turnoff, so hang on to your seats. Know something? Motorbikes on a muddy dirt road aren't so hot. A bit too hot to handle, though. We beat him up to the top of a hill, then we got a nice little surprise called Cop's Downfall. You know, I like you so much, Norrell, I'm even willing to kill for you. Of course, cops aren't really people, and I don't mind because all the dough you're giving me is dough, real dough.
Yeah, you'll be surprised.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Surprises around nearly all the corners. Hang on, corner on the handbrake makes things kind of sudden. Like the character in the Cloak and Combinations days. Up, up and away. Drive into a back wheel skid out of a front wheel. Remember that, and you won't go far wrong. Slippery, isn't she? Don't worry, boy. You got a master at the wheel. At the top here, I stop, and you two get out fast. Don't wait, go. Leave the doors, just get. You watch, I'll do a full turn in the car's length.
Back she goes. Powie, one cop left. How far are we ahead?
I don't know, a quarter of a mile. I can't see now. The bend cuts him off.
Then this is it. Get out.
Okay, Keeling.
Spin around. Rev and twist. There's your lovely little cop killer. Fast, eh? Neat, eh? Boy, is that cop gonna get a surprise. Chasing the car coming back on it. Watch. Zowie. And that's that. Leaves another 200,489 other cops to be rubbed.
Oughtn't we go see if we can do something?
Find him alive? No, thank you. Sorry we have to walk, but it's a great day. Now, about this idea of mine, Norrell. Best way to beat a murder rap is to have a cop alibi.
What are you talking about, a cop alibi? Less I have to do with them, the better.
Just as you like, brother. Of course, if you don't do as I say, I guess you'll have too much to do with him. Murder's a killing job, and Sabalski's almighty dead.
Yeah. What was you talking about? I mean, what do you mean, a cop alibi?
Well, it's like this. The boys often put. So happens I know a job was done on the First National over in Birdville. So happens I know it was pulled right at the same time as Sabalski died. Cops know, too.
You mean that I ought to give myself up for that job?
Sure, why not? Send you up maybe for 5 years. But what's 5 years when the other job means permanent rehabilitation up where clouds make do as a cellar?
5 years. It's a long time. 5 stinking years in the jug, and when I come out, I ain't got no dough.
Why not?
Well, you got the key to the strong room.
Oh, yeah. Forgot that. Oh, well. Don't give yourself up for that Birdville break. You and Sabalski, Watchman, will have a great laugh about it. Great.
Look, Nordy. Everybody must have known you'd want Sabalski rubbed. Now he is, and Gideo's fixed it. And that means shock treatment for you. Better you give yourself up for that Birdville job. Honest.
I know what I'm talking about, Norrell. Say, look. Here.
Hey, you got a newspaper. Hey, what's that say, the headline?
What's that? Sabalski dead. What was I telling you?
Hey, let me read
You
that.
don't want to read that. Here.
Huh?
Now, look. This is what you want to read.
Birdville bank robbery.
That's it. Read it good. Get all the details. Then, go give yourself up as doing it.
Honest, Nordy, it's the best. The only way.
Yeah, well, I'll think about it.
Say one thing for Norrell, he does go to his fate looking just like a film star does.
I couldn't believe it. You talked real good. Honest, I've never seen a man taken in so easy. Be good son, Nora.
It's not the doing, Nora. You see, it's how you do it. Do the Birdville break, then get a stooge to confess. Not only to confess, but hand over 20 grand. Got the key?
Gideo will want his share.
Sure, but it was my idea. Now Norrell will be out of the way for at least 5 years. He'll be so pleased he'll give me half easy.
Maybe, Keelan.
Huh?
Could be. Just keeping tags on you, checking up. Coming along to the safe deposit with you. You know you have to sign before you get the duplicate key from the bank guard.
Sure. Nora got me a signature. Been practicing. Well,
let's go along and see what Sander Nordell has left us in his safe deposit stocking. Huh? And allow me to congratulate you on the sweetest double cross yet.
lawyer to see you, Nora.
Afternoon. Well, now, Nordal, you signed a confession, so I understand.
Confession? Yeah, I can speak open, though. I mean, there's nobody to hear, nobody to pull a fast one if I tell you something. I mean, nobody like a lawyer.
If you wish, I'll treat any information in the strictest confidence.
Well, listen to me. I gotta tell somebody. I've been framed.
Of course.
Really framed, like this, see? A pal of mine talked me into confessing to the Birdville job so I wouldn't be hauled in for a bigger job.
Well, you're very frank. What bigger job?
Murder.
And did you murder somebody?
No, that's where the frame comes in. I didn't. But a certain party made it look as if I did. And to escape that rap, I said I'd done the Birdville job.
I see. Who was it you were supposed to have murdered?
A guy called Sobalski.
Sobalski?
Yeah. You heard of him, huh? Well, he's the guy, the one that was bumped.
I don't know how you're going to take this, Nordal, but Sobalski was bumped. But officially bumped.
Eh? Well, he was killed, wasn't he?
Yes, killed. In the electric chair. He was tried, found guilty, and condemned. If anybody could be found guilty for his death, it could only be the government officials concerned in the execution.
Come on. I'll let you up. I don't know why lawyers are all so impatient.
Oh, thank goodness you've come. I'm afraid Nordal has taken leave of his senses. First of all, he started crying when I told him Sobalski had been electrocuted, and then he started laughing.
What about?
Oh, blessed if I know. Something about a gadget being fixed in a safe deposit. Something about this time when it's opened, it won't be ammonia, but explosives. I really think you better call a doctor.
They'll open it up and it'll blow their heads off, and I'm going to do 5 years for somebody executed.
Yeah, you're right. We better get the doctor.
A closing door finishes the story. Next week, another key will open another door to another story. Mystery, romance, or adventure all start when a door is unlocked by the key.
The Victoria Police Force presents D24. From the files of the Victoria Police, for the first time come these true stories of unceasing war against crime, of day and night vigilance that protects our life and our property, and of the nerve center of the Police Information Bureau, D24.
D24 calling all cars and stations. The following man is urgently wanted for questioning in connection with assault and robbery. Name, John Wood. John Wood. Here is his description.
This is the true story of the men who wouldn't learn. This is a true story from the files of the Victoria Police. Only names, place names, and dates have been altered. John Wood had an aversion to work, honest work anyway. But he liked to eat well and to dress well. And these things call for money. And so at an early age, he developed the habit of helping himself to other people's money, or property that he could turn into money. And if these activities aroused any opposition from his victims, he didn't hesitate to take what he wanted by the use of violence. And so he was well known to the police and made quite frequent appearances in the law courts. But John Wood just couldn't accept the fact that a life of crime means long years behind bars. He preferred to take the risks involved and spend what little freedom he had on race courses and in billiard saloons. Our story begins on Melbourne Cup Day, 1936. The average punter hadn't had a very successful day, but Maxwell Groves was feeling extremely pleased with himself. He'd collected a lot of money on the Cup winner. After the races, he drove into the city and decided to have some dinner in a Burke Street cafe. And it was here that he struck up an acquaintance with John Wood.
Did you go out to the Cup today?
No. Too many people for my liking. All the once-a-year mugs in Melbourne go out on Cup Day.
Yeah, I'll say they do. Still, it's worth the trouble for me.
Showed a profit, did you?
Ah, a few quid.
Good on you.
Only a bit back off what the books owe me, though.
Yeah. You can't toss 'em.
You know, if I'd known I was going to win, I'd have fixed up a party or something for the night. As it is, I'm at a loose end.
Me too. Do you play snooker?
I like a game now and again.
We could get a game tonight if you like.
Oh, that'll do me.
Only for $1 on the price of the game, mind you. I don't play for big dough.
Suits me. I don't know enough about it.
Sure, you won't have much trouble beating me. So, let's just make it a friendly game, eh?
Yeah, that's what I like. A friendly game.
Makes it 43 each, Max. All depends on the black ball.
You haven't left me a very easy shot.
You can do it, son, if you set your mind to it. Just make it fair, square in the middle, and damn she'll go.
Oh, here's hoping anyway. Missed by a yard.
Bad luck.
I've left it right over the pocket for you, too. That's the third game you've won.
Wait till I pot it.
You'll pot it all right.
Well, here goes. Got it.
You're far too good for me.
Want another game?
No, thanks. Time I was getting along. There's the 15 bob I owe you. Now, all I've got to do is to pay for the game. Where's the mark?
Oh, just over there.
Oh, good. How much do I owe you, mate?
3 bob.
Can you change a pound?
I think so.
Here you are, then.
Crikey. That's a decent roll you got there, sport.
Well, I told you I backed the winner today, didn't I?
You said a few quid. You got hundreds there.
Yeah, that's right.
Here's your change. 17 bob.
Thanks. Oh, see you some other time.
Yeah. Cheerio. Which way are you going now, Max?
Caulfield.
By car?
Yeah? Want a ride?
Yeah. I live in Paran. Can you go that way?
Well, why not? It's not out of me way. And come on, the car's parked in Queen Street.
That's my place. The one with the brown fence.
Okay.
Thanks, pal.
Oh, that's all right. You know, we ought to have another game sometime.
Yeah, we should. Well, you know where you can get me.
But you'll have to give me a start next time.
Oh, we'll see about that.
Hey, you've left your parcel behind.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a bottle of scotch, too.
Here you are.
Oh, thanks again. Well, I'll be seeing you.
Yeah, good night.
Good night. Hey, wait a minute, Max.
Why, what's wrong?
Your front near side tyre. Flat as a pancake.
What?
Yeah, you must have stopped on a nail or something. Hey, stick your head out of the window and see for yourself.
Yeah, I will. Front door, you said.
That's right, look. Down there. And at the same time, get this.
Ah! 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 Ah!
And one more for luck. Ah! Bug. Fancy falling for that old gag. And now, sport, before you wake up, I'll help myself to that wallet of yours.
John Wood was up to his old tricks again, and using the broken bottle inflicted terrible injuries to Max Groves' head. The first the police knew about the attack was when a woman rang D24 and informed them that a man was lying unconscious near a car in Commercial Road, Prahran. The mobile patrol took Groves to hospital and then started their search for the offender. But they made no headway at all for several days. Then another call came through to D24.
Hello. D24?
Yes? Who's calling?
That doesn't matter. But I'm ringing about that fellow that was bashed up in Prahran on Tuesday night. Maxwell Groves.
Yes?
I saw Groves on Tuesday night with another man
Where?
at the Apex Billiard Saloon in Collins Street.
Who was the man with Groves?
I don't know. Goodbye.
Hello? Hello? Hung up on me.
Detective Sergeant Long?
D24 here, Sergeant. I've had an anonymous call about the attack on Maxwell Groves.
Huh?
Whoever it was said that Groves was at the Apex Billiard Saloon in Collins Street on Tuesday night with another man.
The Apex?
Yes.
Any details?
No, that's all he'd tell me. Then he rang off.
All right, thanks, D24. We'll go around right away and see what we can find at the Apex.
Were you the marker on duty here last Tuesday night?
Oh, that's right.
Can you remember any of your customers that night?
Oh, that's a pretty tough one.
I know, but it's important. You've only got 6 tables here. Try to remember who was playing on each one.
Oh. Well, now, Tuesday night.
And that was cup night.
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, it was a quiet sort of night. Only about 3 of the tables being used for most of the time. I was playing myself on this one here. Old Ted Farrow and Jim Roberts had number 2. And there was a bloke who only comes in now and again on number 3. He had a stranger with him.
Well, that sounds more like it.
But I don't know their names.
Not even the one who comes in now and again?
No.
Well, have you seen him often enough to describe him to us?
Well, I could try.
Good. Then go right ahead.
The marker's description was a good one, and back at Russell Street, the detectives checked their comprehensive files. By a process of elimination, they narrowed down the suspects to 5. The next step was to check on the movements of the 5 men. And as they knew the offender was a frequenter of billiard saloons, they checked these 2. And it was in a billiard saloon that they came upon one of the suspects they were looking for, John Wood.
Where were you on Tuesday night, Wood?
Well, it's none of your business, but I was at home in bed.
That coat you're wearing looks as though it's blood-stained to me.
Well, if it is.
How'd the blood get on your coat?
My nose was bleeding.
When?
Oh, the other day. Now, go away and leave me alone.
Now, just a minute. Can you prove you're at home and in bed on Tuesday night?
No, I can't. Anyway, why should I?
We're investigating an assault and robbery on a man named Groves at Prahran on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I read about it, but that's all I know.
You answered the description of the man who was seen with Groves on the night he was attacked.
Oh, so you're trying to pin it on me?
No, we're not.
Oh, yes, you are. And I'm not saying anything else, see? I didn't do it, and that's all about it.
I think we'll have to ask you to take part in an identification parade.
Do what you like.
Let's get along, then.
All right. I'll come.
But I warn you, if you charge me, I'll get even with you if it takes me all my life to do it.
Both Maxwell Groves and the billiards room marker who'd seen the two men together had no difficulty in identifying Wood. And despite his threats, he was charged with assault and robbery. But this was by no means the end of his criminal career, as we'll tell you in a few minutes when we continue this true story from the files of the Victoria Police. This is a true story from the files of the Victoria Police. Only names, place names, and dates have been altered. John Wood was charged with assaulting and robbing Maxwell Groves. Taken to court, he was found guilty and sentenced to 5 years' hard labor and a flogging. For most men, that would be sufficient, but not for Wood. Once released from jail, he was back to his old haunts and habits. And more than once, he again saw the inside of jails. The war began and ended. Wood still didn't believe in working for a living, and it was in a Chinese cafe in Burke Street in 1948 that he saw an opportunity for some easy money.
You say you and your wife have just been married, eh?
Yes, so we're over here from Adelaide on our honeymoon.
Know Melbourne well?
Hardly at all, do we, darling?
No, I've never been here before. Seems nice.
It's not such a bad town. Bit slow, of course, but that'll do me.
You always lived here?
Yeah, I got a place in Carlton. Hey, look here, as you're strangers to Melbourne, why not come out to my place tonight?
Oh, no, we couldn't.
Oh, it's very good of you.
Oh, my wife would make you feel at home. And anyway, there are a couple of others coming in for a few drinks, so why not be in it?
Oh, I really don't think we should.
What, you got something else on?
No, but...
Then why not come?
Because, well, we don't even know your name.
Oh, we can soon fix that. I'm Mike Jeffries. Hey, what's your name?
Vic Bradley.
Glad to know you, Vic.
And the wife's name's Jane.
Well, what about it, Jane?
Well, it's very nice of you to ask.
No trouble. The house is there. We got plenty to drink. We always like to have a few friends in the place.
What do you say, Vic?
Well, after all, why not? We're over here to have a good time, and if Mike's willing to give it to us, we should be mighty grateful to him.
That's the idea. Then let's finish tea and then off we go to the party.
John Wood was right when he said there'd be plenty to drink at his place. That was hardly surprising, as his Carlton home was also a well-known sly grog shop. The newlywed Bradleys found that the party consisted only of John Wood, whom they knew as Mike Jeffries, his wife, and another man named Bill. But Mike seemed to be a generous host, and they thoroughly enjoyed the early part of the evening. Jean Bradley's first moment of uneasiness came when Mike stopped her in the front hall.
Well, aren't you glad you came after all, Jean?
Yes. Yes, of course, Mark.
You know, I envy that husband of yours.
What about?
Oh, what do you think? You, of course.
Now, Mike!
But I do envy him. I do. I wish I was on my honeymoon.
Mark, get me another drink, will you?
Sure. I'll get you another drink. But first, I'm gonna tell you, I think you're wonderful. Beautiful and wonderful.
Well, you really mustn't go on like that.
But Vic's not listening.
That doesn't matter.
Besides, all women like to be told they're beautiful, don't they? Now, don't they?
I think we'll have to be going, Mark.
Going? But why? Don't you like me party?
We've had a lovely time.
What if I say you can't go?
Oh, don't be silly.
That's not silly. Come here.
Please let go my arm.
No.
Oh, Mike, don't do that.
Hey, what's going on around here?
Vic, it's time we went.
Oh, I've been trying to persuade your wife to stay a bit longer, Vic. The party's just beginning.
I'm tired, Vic. Let's go.
Yeah, of course, if you want to.
Now, wait a minute, both of you.
Eh?
No one's leaving here till I say the word.
Steady on, Mike, old son.
Don't you, old son, me. You're not going, I tell you.
You've had too much to drink.
Don't you believe it? I'm as sober as you are.
Well, then what's come over you?
Oh, Vic, don't stand here arguing. Let's go.
Yeah, I think we'd better. Good night, Mike.
Just a minute, mug. How about putting in for all the beer you and your wife are drunk?
Yeah, all right. I got this £5 note.
That'll do. For a start.
Hey, I want some change.
Oh, you do you? You want some change? All right, you come with me and we'll get it.
No, Vic, don't bother about change.
He's not going to get away with a £5.
Come on, then.
I wish you wouldn't, Vic.
I can look after myself. You wait here for me.
Just in here.
What's the big idea?
Hello, Bill. You've met Vic, haven't you?
Yeah.
Vic, give me a £5 for all the beer they've drunk tonight, and he wants some change. What do you know about that?
He's a mug.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too.
Now, look here, I've had this. Give me the money or...
Or what?
Will I do him over?
No, leading to me.
So that's it, is it?
You catch on quick, sport. Now, let's have the rest of your dough.
There's no more.
So you're on your honeymoon with only a £5 in your pocket, are you?
Yeah.
I don't think.
Let me at the mug.
No! You just get between him and the door. Now, one more chance. Give us the dough.
I haven't got any.
All right, try this for size. Well, change your mind?
No.
Stubborn, aren't you? Give us that bottle, Bill.
Yeah.
Thanks. Now, I'm not gonna mess about with you any longer.
You dirty, rotten coward.
Give over the money.
Not on your life.
Right, and you're for it. Right. Get it out with you. Stop it. You're tough, but this'll fix you.
You, John, that settled him.
Serves the mug right. Now, you grab all his dough, Bill.
What are you going to do?
This bloke's got a mighty pretty wife. Now he's out of the way. What do you think I'm gonna do? Hello, Jane.
What? Where's Vic?
Vic's busy.
What have you done to him?
We had a little argument. He's got a sore head.
You devil! Let me go to him.
Not so fast.
Vic! Vic!
He can't hear you. He's out cold.
Let me go. Let me go.
Struggle as much as you like. You'll get tired before I will.
No! No! No!
But I don't like screaming women, so shut up! Well, that's much better.
Vic! Oh, Vic.
Ah, forget Vic, will you? He can't help you. So you may as well be nice to me.
Oh, no! No!
What's the use of arguing?
I've got to get away.
You can't get away till I say so, so make up your mind to that.
While her husband lay unconscious in another part of the house, the young bride was brutally assaulted by Wood, who then took what money she had and left the house. When she recovered sufficiently, Jean went in search of her husband and later took him to hospital, where he was found to be badly wounded about the head as the result of blows from Wood's favorite weapon, a broken bottle. A little while later, she tried to give detectives what little information she had.
He said his name was Mark Jeffries.
Yes, Mrs. Bradley. But you don't know the address of the house?
No. I should have taken notice of it, but I was too worried about Vic.
Yes, of course. But at least we know it was somewhere in Carlton.
Yes. but I'm from Adelaide, and I've never been to Carlton before. When it was at night, I'm sure I'd never find the house again.
Just try to think. Try to think of anything you saw or heard when you were there, or on the way there.
No, there's nothing I can remember.
Yeah, that's a pity.
But wouldn't you be able to find out where a man named Mike Jeffries lives?
Oh, yes, we could, but something tells me that Mike Jeffries isn't his real name.
Oh.
We'll check it, of course, but I have my doubts. Mike Jeffries just doesn't ring a bell with me at all.
A bell?
Eh?
You said something about a bell. There was a bell last night. A fire bell.
Yeah?
I remember now. I said something about it to this Mike, and he said there was a fire station just a few hundred yards up the street.
Now we're getting somewhere. So we want a house in the street in Carlton where the fire station is. Come on, Mrs. Bradley. We'll jump into a car, and we'll see if you can point out the house for us.
And Mrs. Bradley did point out the house. So the detectives now knew the real name of the offender. They also found ample evidence of the struggle in the house. But of course John Wood had vanished. And so the radio call went out.
D24, calling all cars and stations. The following man is urgently wanted for questioning in connection with assault and robbery. John Wood, age 40 years, height 6 feet, weight 15 stone, brown eyes, dark hair. Last seen wearing dark grey suit, blue striped shirt, black shoes.
And at the same time, police guarded all railway stations and the Essendon airport. And early the next morning...
All passengers on Flight 723 for Sydney, please go on board. Your Skymaster airliner is now ready for departure. Please show your seat checks to the hostess.
All passengers checked in, Mr. Thomas?
Oh, but one, Sergeant. Hope he hurries. A couple of minutes late now.
What's his name?
Anderson. H. Anderson. Hello. This could be him rushing in the door now.
That's not Anderson. That's John Wood, the man I'm looking for.
No.
Just carry on as though there was nothing unusual.
Am I too late to catch the Sydney plane?
Well, sir,
You're not too late, my friend, but it's going without you.
What?
Police here, Wood.
You're making a mistake. My name's Anderson.
Your name's John Wood, and you're coming along with me for questioning at Russell Street.
Not me. Now, look here, I know you're only doing your duty, but my name's Anderson. I booked to go on this plane a week ago. Ask the clerk.
That right, Mr. Thomas?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So now, will you please let me catch that plane?
No. You may have booked a week ago, but your name's John Wood, and you're wanted for questioning. Sorry if we've delayed the plane, Mr. Thomas.
Can we take off now?
Certainly, but don't forget to let the hostess know that the plane will be carrying one passenger less.
This time, the court was not so lenient with John Wood, and he was, in fact, sentenced to death for the attack on Jean Bradley. Later, this was commuted to a long term in prison. His companion, Bill, was also sent to jail. John Wood just wouldn't learn that his behavior would certainly lead him back to jail. A modern, highly trained and efficient police force such as ours sees to it that the lot of the criminal is a hard one. And John Wood must surely realize by now that the life he chose doesn't pay dividends. Let us determine to always help our police whenever and wherever possible. Only then will our lives and our property be safe. Only names, place names, and dates were altered in this true story. It was dramatized from the files of the Victoria Police by Roland Strong, who now says goodbye until the same time next week, when there'll be another true story in this series, D24, which is brought to you by the Victoria Police Force and produced in the studios of Hector Crawford Productions by Dorothy Crawford.